here from the VK Jones Studios in Chapel Hill slash Carrboro, North Carolina. This is the VK Jones Show right here on Facebook.com and also on YouTube.com, on the road stream as well. So we appreciate you joining us today. Should be a very good show. It's a best of edition. It is the best of 2020. Even though we're in 2021, Happy New Year to everybody out there. And we're gonna have a good one. We're on till 2 o'clock today, and we have my co-host that's with me right now, and it's gonna be here for the ride all the way to 2 o'clock, 3 Eastern. Jared, Mr. Still Dibs, JB Boyd, what's going on, man? Happy New Year.
Man, happy New Year to you, my friend. Um, what's going on? We got some college football to talk about. We got some prep football in the state to talk about. That's what's going on. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, indeed. We do have a lot to talk about today on this show. And, we'll have one more special edition after that. We have a Hoop Spectacular. We will talk about that later on, but we will have that and we will announce our new podcast coming up soon. So just stay tuned for that. And we're going to do a lot more from myself and Jared JB Board. So, man, so let's get into things. First of all, Jared, how was your holidays thus far? I see like you had a great holiday season.
Oh man, it was wonderful. I can't complain about it. I definitely enjoyed Christmas and New Year's with loved ones and family and all that good stuff. So I enjoyed it. It was great. It was great.
Good, good, good. I think mine was pretty good, a little more relaxing than I thought it was gonna be, and especially for my family in North Carolina and everything. I
Definitely.
wish I would have been down it with my family in New Orleans. It was kind of rough with these COVID numbers and stuff, but
Yeah.
we're hoping better things in 2021 more than anything else. More than anything, health and prosperity, and also normalcy. That's the most important thing for 2021 is normalcy. So let's get
Yeah.
into right
Yeah.
normalcy, as in travel, getting out the house, going to certain places, have a good time. To have that balance again besides work. Because some people have been have going to work, work, work. For some people, it's been unfortunate and not having a job, and really, some people do need one, not just for the money. So more than anything else in life, period, people need to get their lives back together. So that's what 2021 is hopefully to be about this year, and that's what we're hoping for. College football. Let's get into things with our best of 2020. The college football playoff was yesterday, and the two games wasn't even close. One of the outcomes, let's talk about it in the Superdome last night. The Mercedes-Benz Superdome, the Ohio State Buckeyes, Clemson Tigers in one semifinal. Actually, it was the second semifinal of the night, and Ohio State, man, the revenge factor was in. They dominated. They handled their business 49-28 over Clemson. And huge night for Justin Fields. I mean, my goodness. He just ran rough shot, even though he got hurt. Even though he got hurt, and came back a lot of heart and wound up handling his business and getting the win. And I mean, you made a point last night, Jared, about Justin Fields being probably the number one pick um, over Trevor Lawrence, and I can sort of agree with you on that because he really stepped in big last night, made some huge plays, arm. He had 385 yards, six touchdowns over Trevor Lawrence, who had over 400 yards in a great effort, but just two touchdowns and one interception. And overall, yeah, 0-2 for Trevor Lawrence in the Superdome, but Clemson also 0-3 in Superdome as well under Dabo Sweeney. So it seemed like the Mercedes-Benz Superdome is like a house of horrors for Clemson.
Well, that's what I was referring to on Facebook when I said Dabo never won there, and here he is, 0-3, and I made a reference yesterday, like who's putting voodoo
Mhm.
on Clemson. Somebody put some voodoo on Clemson because they're they just can't get the job done in the Superdome. Period. But in regards to my sarcasm with the voodoo and everything, I've always said Justin Fields was a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. I've always said that. To me, Trevor Lawrence is good, but doesn't impress me as much as Justin Fields. And this whole matchup, man, we go back in time to last year to what happened in that game, and then we go to what Dabo ranking him 11th, and then we go to the rumors about Brett Venables still signs. So Ohio State really was determined to beat Clemson, and it wasn't even close, man. Compared to the talent on the field, compared to play calling and coaching in this game, it wasn't close. And we also got to say this because we're not giving this guy enough credit. But it looks like Trey Sermon has finally found his rhythm and his groove again since he got hurt at Oklahoma 2 years ago. You know, this guy is running the rock hard. He's hitting the hole. He's making cuts, getting the extra yardage that we saw him make 2 years ago before he got hurt. So it looks like he's finally coming back to form. And, you know, with the receivers they have and being led by Chris Olave, hey, Ohio State is dangerous right now as we speak.
Very much dangerous. Very much agreed on that. Trey Sermon has really taken the charge in the backfield more than Master Teague. So that's amazing what he's doing. And I agree with you. And I think last night, one of the linebackers for Clemson, he got ejected for targeting, which going to find out was the correct call. And then this is the second year in a row that this linebacker for Clemson has been tossed.
Hey,
so
going
that's crazy.
Going back to what I was saying about who's putting voodoo on Clemson when they play in the Superdome.
But then when you realize with Clemson as well, Clemson has a young defense. They were really young. A lot of first-year starters on the side of the ball, and it showed. It showed in that game. It showed against Notre Dame the first time they played them. You know, it was just more of they got exposed than anything else, and they got exposed again. So plain and simple, Ohio State wanted more than Clemson. They outplayed them. And like something about this dome, they can't get it done. So big time props to Ohio State. At first, I'm thinking, but at the same time, I think Dabo Swinney was talking too much smack. I think he should have just kept his mouth closed.
Let's also remember this is why Justin Fields wanted to come back. We got to also realize out of high school, Justin Fields was always second to Trevor Lawrence in rankings and everything. So trust me, that chip has always been on his shoulder to show the world that he's not second to Trevor Lawrence, but he's first and better than Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, he is. I definitely agree with that. I mean, a great effort, by Fields. And I think, now he's made a case of probably, not just Heisman status, but also making a case of him being number one pick in the draft. So it tells a lot, with that one. I think Trevor Lawrence might probably still be number one pick. But at the same time, I think Justin Fields has made a huge case because you step up in the big time matchup, the big time stage against the other guy, and y'all play him like you did, it shows a lot. And I think either way, Justin Fields is going to be one or two, regardless of the fact that he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks going in the NFL draft next year. So that's huge for him. It's huge win for Ohio State as they move on to the national championship game. Who they go against next? Interesting. Well, they go against the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Crimson Tide gets it done over Notre Dame, not even close, 31-14. I was dead wrong I did pick Bama. I was dead wrong on how tight the game was going to be and I'm disappointed. And I'm more disappointed in Notre Dame of it showing and everything else. And I kind of put it on Brian Kelly because the fact of the matter is you have to be aggressive against Bama. You cannot play into their hands. And that's what happened. They played into Bama's hands, and all of a sudden Bama just outplayed them. The second series of the game, especially with the run by by Najee Harris when he jumped over a player and almost scored a touchdown. To me, I really thought the game was over right there because I'm like, what are you doing? And then on top of that, it ain't just the fact the offense is not being aggressive enough, but the defense giving too much of a gap for the receivers and worrying about Devontae Smith instead of worrying about everybody else. I mean, it was just totally bad strategy for Notre Dame.
Well, they must have, in order to line up that far back, they had to be more concerned with getting beat deep than the short passes due to Devontae Smith, Mechie, and everybody else they have. But all in all, you got to worry about also Najee Harris with his running game.
Right.
So they were overmatched from the get-go. What I didn't like was that Alabama, to me, kind of just laid down in the second half and didn't continue to put their foot on their necks. That's what I didn't like. It's like they just shut it down. They shut it down in the second half when they could have did more. So that's what I didn't like about it. But all in all, the better team won. To me, Notre Dame should have been running the ball more. They were getting over 3 yards a pop when running the ball on Alabama. That was the best strategy that they had, running the ball. I don't think they ran the ball enough. But once you get behind big, you gotta start passing, and had no choice. I like Ian Book. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback Notre Dame probably has since Brady Quinn. But you know, when I'm just being real.
Brady, well, but that says a lot. Like Brady Quinn was straight, but I that's kind of on the disrespect side. If you would have said Rick Meyer, if you would have said Rick Meyer or what was the quarterback that won? Marcus up, Kevin McDougal or somebody like that. Yeah. Like Brady Quinn was okay, but not comparing those quarterbacks.
Well, I'm saying this. Brady Quinn was good at Notre Dame. He got him to BCS bowl games. You know, they lost 2 of them to Ohio State and LSU. He got them there. I'm going to recent time since Brady Quinn. Yeah, they had better quarterbacks than Notre Dame, of course. But since Brady Quinn, Ian Book has been the best quarterback that they have. But it wasn't enough to overcome the athleticism, the talent at Alabama, against Alabama.
Now, here's another thing before we go ahead. Let's don't forget about Golston. Golston really did a good job in Notre Dame too, and led them to the playoffs. So we can't forget about him either. So
yeah, Vernon Golston.
I understand about Quinn. Yeah. Vernon Golston did his thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
He was good. I don't know if I put him above Quinn, but yeah, Vernon Golston was good. Look, me saying Brady Quinn, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. It's just how I feel coming down the line. I'm not disrespecting anybody, but yeah, Vernon Golston, he was good. He was good.
And I tell you, Book is a real good quarterback. But I think the running game wasn't bad, but you got to be aggressive. You have to mix it up, and that's the thing. Mixing up is really good to help your running game. And all of a sudden, when Bama figured it out, it was shut down city. So to me, I really thought in the beginning they should have tested the secondary, and they didn't. They just felt like, we're going to stick to nothing wrong with the game plan running the ball, but you have to mix it up. You got to really be aggressive. The name of the game against Bama is you have to jump on them first. You don't jump on them first, it might be trouble for you. So also, that's what happened. Good.
Also, you got to realize this. If you can block that D-line and give a quarterback a little bit of time, Bama's secondary will get beat. That is the weakest link every year to Bama's defense. Teams are able to pass the ball on Bama. And I know people are high on Patrick Surtain. I've never been high on Patrick Surtain. I believe he's not that great. I'll say good, but that great of a cornerback like they make him out to be. I felt the same way about A.J. Terrell last year at Clemson. I thought he was overrated. If you give any quarterback against Bama just a little bit of time, a little bit, they could pick that secondary apart.
I can agree with you, and like I said, Ole Miss really exposed them a lot, and Ole Miss could have beat them. Lane Kiffin had a perfect game plan for him. It's just the fact their defense couldn't get one stop. They get one stop, Ole Miss wins the ball game more than
Yeah.
anything else. You have to move the ball. Patrick Surtain is not bad. He's not bad of a player. He's getting better more than anything else. The son of the great Pat Surtain. They used to play for Edna Carr in 1993. And, I think he's very good. I think he's going to get much better than he is. But you do have to test that secondary Bama, and that's what they should have did early in the game. That would have been maybe a different outcome than what it was.
Maybe so.
So,
Maybe so. Maybe
yeah.
so. Maybe be a little bit closer. Maybe I still don't think they
Mhm.
got the win, but yeah, maybe so.
Right, absolutely. And so now that they both battle for the national championship coming up in 2 weeks up in Miami, Devontae Smith, outstanding performance, he was the MVP. He's going to be up for the Heisman. Mac Jones and also Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Trask. I think, your thoughts on who will maybe win the Heisman Trophy before we get more into who win the national championship.
All right. So as the season went along, I was impressed with Mac Jones. I thought Mac Jones was going to do this. But then you see Devontae Smith breaking records. And then when Devontae Smith had that punt return for a touchdown, I said right then and there, that's your Heisman winner right there. That punt return really said a lot. Because now you just didn't get everything as a wide receiver. You did something outside of playing wide receiver, punt return, and got a touchdown. And his stats have stayed high. Not one bad game. This guy was the best wide receiver in college football this year. Hands down, that is your Heisman Trophy winner. Yes, Devontae Smith.
Well, and I've been doing some thinking about it, and I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. He is the best player in college football, but at the same time,
No.
what Devontae Smith has been doing, I gotta give him props, man. I'm sorry, he just missed one crucial game, and that was against Notre Dame. And then on top of that,
he missed two.
He missed Boston College.
He missed two.
Well, that was Boston College, and Boston College.
I don't care what it is. Shoot, Trevor.
Well, he missed two games.
Trevor Lawrence made first team All-American on one of the publications. Are you serious? He made first team.
But the dude still had over 3,000 yards passing, even all those games, even missing two games. He made plays. He was dominant most of the time.
I don't care. Compared to Kyle Trask and Mac Jones and what they did, and not miss a game. Zach Wilson and what they did. No, bro. No.
Kyle Trask? Oh, he ain't better than Kyle. No, wait a minute. Kyle Trask ain't no better than Troy. Did you see what Kyle Trask did in the bowl game? Did you see that?
We are not going by postseason. We're going with regular season. Okay? That's what counts. The Heisman don't count towards no postseason. This man.
I'm not going to discount what Trask has done. He's had a good year. Don't get me wrong.
Great year. Yes.
You're right. It does compare to regular season. But most of the time, Trevor's dominated. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to agree with you on one thing with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith has really come along. He's been a playmaker everywhere. He's been handling his business. He's been really making this stuff look. I think it'll be a great story if he wins. So I think the Heisman Trophy, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to give a big push to Trevor Lawrence, but I really think Devontae Smith is your winner. I really think Devontae Smith is your winner, and I think that'll be great. That'll be awesome that he wins the Heisman Trophy. That would be a great story, not just for the state of Louisiana, great story for college football and the hard work he is committed to do what he had to do to be the starter at Alabama, learning under great people, and now he's turned his game up. So I like Devontae Smith to win the Heisman in itself. Our special guest joining us today, just coming in here, look like you just coming out of the hibernation. Mr. George Peppers, what up, man? How you doing?
Hey, you, bro. Happy New Year to y'all. How y'all
Happy New-
doing?
Good, George. Good.
All right, all right.
Mhm.
I was
Now I
gonna
wasn't
bust
trying to
out an
put a shot,
ECW.
but
I was about to hit the invasion angle on you, just to pop in out of nowhere. I'd have done it
yeah,
like the whole ECW, but
yeah.
I'd had to play some Twisted Tea to break that too. But no, it's good to join y'all. It's good
I
to
love
join
that.
y'all. But yeah, um, I hear a baby. Oh,
Yeah,
That's my daughter
that's his daughter.
no,
running around. I'm doing two things at one time, man. Being a dad and hosting a show.
multitasking, baby. That's what it's about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me get your thoughts on last night's college football playoff before we go forward, right
Oh,
quick.
goody.
But not just
Okay.
that. Do you think Devontae Smith has a chance to win the Heisman? Your thoughts, right quick.
I'll take it from the chronological part. The Alabama Notre Dame game first. Uh, it was an expected result. Alabama was always going to win that game. Notre Dame doesn't play that kind of speed. Looks like we lost our host.
No, he's
Um,
there. He's there. He just cut his camera off.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it looks like
Yeah,
a
continue.
totally different brand of speed in the SEC that you play, and I think that's what was the big difference yesterday. Alabama was always a step ahead, and Ian Book. Look, I heard what you were saying, Jared, about what kind of quarterback he is. I like him too. I think he's got a future in the NFL. And y'all were talking about great Notre Dame quarterbacks. Y'all forgot the greatest one ever, Tony
Oh,
Rice.
Tony Rice. Yeah, yeah,
How about
yeah.
Jimmy Clausen?
Mm-hmm.
Just, but I mean, guys like that, Rick Meyer, look, that was a turnover-prone machine at Notre Dame. But it'll be what it'll be. But look, Alabama was always going to win that game. There was no doubt. What really stunk was for the bettors that took Alabama laying 19 and a half. Talk about the ultimate backdoor. Notre Dame hit him with that in the fourth quarter. That game finishes 31-14. Now,
Mm.
if we got a minute, Ohio State Clemson's got a lot of juicy stuff, doesn't it? And Jared, you and I were talking last night
Yep.
on the book, and there were a couple of idiots that decided to manifest themselves and say some ridiculously ignorant things, and I'm still waiting for their answers about wagering because, like I said, I got a window; it's wide open. I'm a very willing participant, but they're not going to answer, and that's
Mm-mm.
called where I come from. That's called coward. But
Yes.
it'll be what it'll be. Anyway, the game itself, I picked Ohio State. If you read my Facebook page yesterday, I picked them to win outright. I thought, you know, the media, I thought a lot of entities missed the biggest point of this matchup before it happened was revenge. Everybody just completely wanted to forget Ohio State had Clemson dead to rights
Right.
last year. They were done. A mistake by Justin Fields opened the floodgates. Clemson's offense took off, and that's an offense that when it hits its flow, it's hard to stop. They got out faster last night than they did last year. Clemson did, but the difference was the resolve of the Buckeyes. A mis- a an ejection that I thought was legit. I thought it was a legitimate ejection. Ejection. James Skalski, man, that dude must hate playing in New Orleans because that's 2 straight years. That's 2 straight years he's gotten ejected. And last night, there was an argument that I wanted to get into with one Matt Moscona who does a radio show in Baton Rouge,
Yeah, Matt Moscano.
mostly yeah, mostly about LSU and a lot of fluff because look, I'll just be honest, the guy likes to pick fights he can't win,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I thought about going onto a Twitter brigade and calling him out, and I'm still debating it in my head. To me, I don't like if you're a broadcaster, if you're a journalist, if you're a host of any show of any entity that you spew the nonsense. Read the tea leaves in his Twitter line last night. I don't know if Jared or VK you follow Matt Moscona on Twitter, but
Hmm.
if you do, go back and read the tweets about and in chronological order. Read them and read the progressiveness of how ignorant and baseless they were. First off, about Texas A&M making the playoffs, to all of you knuckleheads that were talking that noise before, talking about well Texas A&M deserves it just because they play in the SEC. We don't give births because you play in a conference. You give births because of what you do on the field.
Correct.
So stop. Cut that noise out.
Right.
Ohio State, look, and this is a Michigan fan talking. That's what kills me. All right, having to talk good about Ohio State. This is what just absolutely just brutalizes me. But the Ohio State Buckeyes are legit. They shut a lot of people up. Ryan Day probably told the team, look, Dabo done signed a check. You know what? Can't cash.
Mm-hmm.
By ranking them 11th, name me both of you 10 teams better than Ohio State. You could say with confidence that they could beat Ohio State. You can't. There ain't 4 teams that could beat Ohio State. Maybe not Alabama, because now the narrative is going to come out in the next 2 weeks. They play a week from Monday in Miami. Let's remember one thing: the last time Alabama plays a team that punches you in the mouth, y'all forgetting Troy Sermon can run. That dude's got
Tracer.
Trey Sermon. I'm saying
Yeah.
Troy. Trey. I'm sorry. That dude's got some serious game. And Najee Harris, for all the greatness that he is, and man, that hurdle was some sweet yesterday against Notre Dame. That was beautiful. Watching a 235-pound back just leap over a dude, that was a backbreaker. But Ohio State was better. Justin Fields, there were people making intimations that Zach Wilson. Look, I love Zach Wilson. I think he's a star at the next level. But Todd McShay said Zach Wilson in his mock draft is going to go 2 to the Jets. No. Stop. Cut that noise out. That's absolute idiocy, and that's just pure ignorance in manifest form. But the game was dominated by the Ohio State offense. They won the line of scrimmage. The ejection was legit. Justin Fields torched Clemson. And I don't want to hear this about, well, Trevor Lawrence didn't play good. Yes, he did. 403 yards passing. Yes, he put the ball down twice and he threw 1 pick. But Trevor Lawrence, and then who was it last night? There was a guy on your timeline, Jared, said that Trevor Lawrence beat nothing but garbage. Gee, okay.
You're right.
So,
Yeah.
he didn't beat LSU, but he beat Alabama.
Yeah, sure did.
He beat Alabama. So let me know when they're garbage again. You can't. They come on, man, cut that out. If you're gonna spew stuff, talk with some sense. When I write stuff on any social media post, I don't let my emotions get the best of me. I usually keep it in refrain and look. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. Last night was last night. Y'all know what the opening line of the championship. I told you last night, Jared. 7.5. And it already got bet down to 7. Alabama favored by 7. The over under, for those that care, is 76. Now, as we speak, I just checked this a few minutes ago. 7 and 76. Whatever way you want to go. I'll say this: points are going to come at a premium, but the key for Ohio State to beat Alabama in a couple of weeks' time, easy. Stay to your identity. Know what you can do. Alabama's defense is not that good. Look, they made a Notre Dame offense that doesn't have a lot of perimeter speed. They neutered them. Ohio State's going to kill you on the outside. Olave is a good receiver. They got a lot of depth. Trey Sermon is going to do some damage. Ohio State's going to put points. Y'all, this is no guarantee for Alabama. Alabama can get beaten. They just might. Man, it's killing me. Boy, to watch Ohio State possibly lifting the playoff trophy, man, I might just break my TV, dude. I don't know if I want to see that. I'm going to just see the game go final and just turn it off and not stand on it.
Wow. Well, I tell you, we both picked Devontae Smith to win the Heisman, George.
Not to answer that question.
You think he wins?
I'll say who shouldn't be in the Final Four, and that's the young man that got beat by Justin Fields last night, Trevor Lawrence. Why? Are you serious? Why? I want somebody to explain to me with a straight face why Trevor Lawrence is in the Final Four.
Come on, VK. Explain.
Najee Harris needs to be in there. Najee Harris absolutely needs to be in there. Trevor Lawrence doesn't. Look, I love Trevor Lawrence. I think that dude is the number 1 pick. And let's stop this other conversation that Fields done past him. I think Fields is almost as good, but Trevor Lawrence has generational talent. Fields still needs, I think, a little bit more growth to really get into that level. And I don't take Justin Fields 1. But for the Heisman, look, me and Jared live in Louisiana, and Devontae Smith winning it would be awesome. And I don't know if he's the best. This year he's been the best player, and that's what the Heisman Trophy should be about.
Correct.
Who's the best player? Your finalists are Mac Jones, Kyle Trask. Did you watch the Oklahoma game? Oof. Devontae Smith and Trevor Lawrence. Of the 4, to me, it should be 1. Devontae Smith wins this Heisman Trophy.
Right, and we're not saying it because we're from Louisiana. But But right quick before we get in the quick bowl update here and all this college football stuff. Your picks right quick for the championship. Who wins it all?
I'll go first. I and look, I think we have a tough competitive ball game, a close game, but I really believe if Ohio State can give Justin Fields a little bit of time to throw the ball, he's going to pick that secondary apart. Plus, Justin Fields is able to run also. He's a mobile quarterback, and we've seen mobile quarterbacks in the past give Alabama fits. I'm going with Ohio State.
Watch the
Mm.
rib injury in these next 10 days for Justin Fields because that was a pretty wicked shot he took. And I don't know if I mean, I saw some of the highlights afterward. I was working last night. I got a chance to watch the highlights, and in what I saw, Fields was a little ginger. So watch that. Pay attention. If that rib is 100%, is almost near to 100%, I can promise you he's not going to be anywhere on a football field for the next 5 to 7 days. I don't
Right.
think. I think if that thing heals, because that was a pretty wicked lick he took. If he's good, Ohio State wins this football game, and why? That Alabama secondary is pure garbage, hot garbage. They can't cover a part in the wind.
Exactly.
So they will get
Mhm.
absolute. And Ohio State's receivers, y'all, will light them up. Justin Fields, if he could do that to Clemson, what can he do to Alabama? Clemson's defensive backs are known as a better commodity. Remember, they had a first rounder on their roster last year, AJ Terrell, and what happened? Jamar Chase made his little play child in the Superdome. Olave and those receivers that Ohio State's got are going to absolutely light them up. I think the Buckeyes paying it. Let's see how Fields goes. But if he's good, Ohio State wins it, and it's a high scoring game. This is going to be a track meet. I think the Buckeyes win a track meet. Alabama don't want this to be a track meet. Yes, they could score, but they know their defense is limited. I'm going to pick Ohio State, and I won't do it trumpetedly because this is about objectivity. Ohio State's my pick to win the national title right now.
Well, I really think I'm going to agree with the both of you. I think Justin Fields is going to have enough time to heal. I think he'll be ready. I think Ohio State's the better team against Alabama, and I hate to say it. They look like the better team. I thought they did not belong in the playoff, but after last night, it made me change my mind. Now I'm like, okay, there's a reason why the Big Ten did what they did. There's a reason why the Big Ten. It ain't just. It was. I thought it was money, but after last night, it wasn't just money. They knew something we didn't know. They knew something that we definitely didn't know about Ohio State. So I'm like, okay, I changed my mind. They deserve to be here. They are here. They're gonna prove that they are the team, and they'll be a better team than Bama, and I think they'll win it. I don't, and it might not even be close if Justin Fields is healthy. I don't think the game will be close. I don't think the game will be close. No disrespect to Bama, but I tell you, Bama been exposed, and it could be a chance of Ohio State winning this championship. We move on to college football news right quick. We had some breaking news earlier today, and kind of a little bit of a surprise, but not too surprise. Tom Herman fired from Texas, and they already probably have their successors set up already, and that is Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator from Alabama, to become the new head coach at the University of Texas. Let me start with you, Jared, on your thoughts. Do you think this is a big move for Texas, surprise move, or what I'm saying? What do you think?
I'm not surprised by the firing. Even though they came out a couple weeks ago saying they were sticking with Tom Herman, but I'm not surprised. You got to realize the amount of money Texas brings in, and they want championships. They want success, and they haven't gotten that since Mac Brown got them to the national title game. Yeah, Tom Herman had one good year and got to the Sugar Bowl and won, but after that, it hasn't been anything of um of par. I could say, of what they expect at Texas. So the hire of Steve Sarkisian, he's a great offensive mind. So is Tom Herman. So you're kind of bringing in the same person. The thing is this: can Sark recruit the type of guys to get that program where it needs to be? That's the first question. Can he put together the type of coaching staff that can develop these players to being better than what Oklahoma has or what LSU has? Can he get that type of staff? That's where it starts at. They got all the facilities and all the stuff that they need on campus. But those two things right there, can you recruit the players you need? And can you get the type of staff to develop these players? If he can do that, Texas will be back. If not, they're gonna be doing the same thing 3 years from now.
George, your thoughts on Tom Herman and the University of Texas with their move?
I'm with Jared in the fact that I'm not surprised that Tom Herman got fired. And look, to be facetious, I can say, man, y'all weren't impressed with that win over Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. But no, all jokes aside, that should have happened before the end of the year. Tom Herman, grossly overrated. I didn't think he was, he played LSU to get his quote dream job. Well, that dream job just turned into his worst nightmare. He's gone. Sarkisian, look, the man coached at Washington and did very well there at Washington in the Pacific Northwest. Why can't he win at Texas? Yes, it's a bigger scope. He made Washington after Don James. Remember, Don James did all that success. Sark brought him almost all the way back, and then he took the S job, and that didn't work. And then he went to the NFL, and now he's at Alabama. And now he's going to coach the championship game before y'all panic. He'll coach the championship against Ohio State, so they're going to allow him that because the next signing day is not until February.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chance he can succeed. The one thing Texas needs to learn how to do, Jared, honestly, patience. They don't have it. I think they did the right thing by whacking Tom Herman. And look, I'm not one to promote firings or whatever, unless your name's Bo Pelini. But that's another story. But I think it was the right move on Texas's part. I think they knew. And the thing with a good program is you identify the man you want and you go get him. Don't wait for the bidding wars to start because they know once the college football season ends, job's going to open up. Michigan's job, it's not going to open up, unfortunately. But something like that, big jobs that could open. Like Lincoln Riley, his name's going to be linked to the NFL here once the NFL season is done. Unless the Cowboys come back and win this division tomorrow, that was a team they would look at. But I like the move. That Sarkisian is the new head coach at Texas. I just think Texas needs y'all to show some patience. They know that they have the blue bloods in them. It's just a matter of giving said coach the right time and the right leeway to make this happen. Texas can do this right, but it's up to the AD. It's up to the sports information people, all the people ahead of Sark. Let him do his job. Stay out of the way.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think the move is interesting. Should have been done. And I think Herman. Don't be surprised. Herman's gonna be probably coaching at another program. Maybe he didn't really do too good in Texas, but if it's the right situation, he could turn it around. Remember, he did great at Houston, so he might be somewhere else in a small program to build it up. But I wouldn't be surprised that he's gonna be offensive coordinator somewhere. So, but I wouldn't be surprised he might be back as a head coach. So, I wouldn't be surprised at that. He might sit for a year though because he's got that big old $24 million payoff buyout that he's got from Texas. So, he could sit out a year or some other job will pop up. So, but Sarkisian, I hope he's prepared. I hope he's ready. I think he's been groomed a little bit right from Nick Saban. But remember, he cracked a lot at USC. So we're just hoping it's not the same Sarkisian from when he was at USC. It cracked under pressure, especially with the drinking problem. So we'll see what happens in Austin, Texas. Got my little daughter on the screen if you see that. But moving on right along. Moving right along talking about the bowl season right quick before we get to prep football. It's just been the bowl season been kind of pointless, but we can understand why because of COVID-19. And right now COVID-19 is letting college football literally get away with murder. 3-4 win teams are in the bowl because I guess they had no choice but to call them to play the ball game. And you're seeing karma is starting to burn them up a bit. with what happened with Wisconsin, winning the bowl game but breaking the trophy, and a brawl that happened a couple days ago, Tulsa and Mississippi State. Now, at first, I thought it was an embarrassment for Tulsa of losing that ball game to a 3-win team, knowing what the program has been going through and getting themselves together, knowing that Tulsa was basically Oklahoma's little brother for a long, long time before they started winning. And now, with them losing to State, I thought it was there. But looking at the brawl itself, I think it was a total shame that this brawl happened, and it looked really bad for Mississippi State more than anything else than Tulsa. And to me, looking at the whole video on both sides of the fence, I think the trophy should be banished. I think both teams should be forfeited. And at the same time, I think whoever was involved in the fights and all that stuff, to be honest with you, and especially the person who from Mississippi State who kicked the player and was on the video talking about how he got involved, I would kick them off the team and said, "You're done. Go somewhere else. This is disgraceful." Whoever was in the fight, some of them should be freaking thrown off the team. I'm sorry, because the other day in that bowl game was a disgrace. George, give me your thoughts on that moment.
Well, Jared and I, we had a nice extensive conversation. This came up as well, and I brought up something that I'll bring it up now, but we'll keep the language up. We didn't have any language in it, any like bad language. Anyway, there's two types of justices that need to be administered. One is criminal justice. That's what I take part in. I work as a corrections officer and booking officer at my local jail. The other, this one I would apply on Malik Heath, number 4. That's the guy that decided to use his foot as a weapon and then cold cock another dude and run. It's called street justice. That's the kind you drag and you beat the you-know-what out of. I mean, just put the punches on him and fillet him. Now, as far that's what I would do. Malik Heath, that Instagram video talking about you go, son, there's a word that rhymes with witch, and that's about what you are. Okay? You not hard, man. Gangster, all you are is a wannabe. Please. You sitting there kicking a dude, and then what's really sad is one of Tulsa's best players had to be helped off the field. Kendrick, forgot his name, number 7, I think, or number 1.
Yeah,
Number one with the
number
one.
7.
No. Number 7 was the one fighting. Number 1 was the one they had to help off the field. Number 1.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I don't remember the extent of that dude's injuries. But I tell you who else needs to be accounted for. We're talking about both teams and their roles. The officials did what they could, but these teams had it in them from the jump to do this. I think it looked like, to me, it would look like a shootout at the OK Corral. And Tulsa embarrassed to losing. I don't know who started it, but Mike Leach. Did you watch his press conference, post game? Say, man, if I'm Mississippi State's athletic director, coach, this is all on you, big boy. Fire him right now. Fire him. If that's my representation of my program in a bowl game, granted the season's been trashed for Mississippi State, but if that's how you're going to represent my university, turn your stuff in. Bye. See you. Malik Heath, first of all, you're going to go to jail because that's 2 counts of battery. The dude's already got 2 counts of battery stuck to him, and there's other players that did stuff. But Malik Heath, and he's got my venom because he's a big coward. He's a coward. That dude, man, answer this. Y'all, we've all been in fights, all 3 of us. We've all been in scraps. But if let's say if say we were in a brawl, a Pierce brawl like that, and some dude that kicked me and ran, I would look for that dude and put something on him. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
I'm just saying. That's just how I operate. I'm not the guy that's gonna sneak somebody. If I'm gonna get you face up, man up. Malik Heath ain't a man. He's a little boy. That's what he is.
Wow.
But that was an embarrassment. What happened the other day, y'all? It grossed me out. It visibly got me sick because watching, a bowl game's supposed to be a reward, guys, right? I mean,
That's
where am
right.
I wrong?
Correct.
Bowl game's
That's
supposed to be a
correct.
reward. This year is different because anyone can go, heck, a winless team if they wanted to can go to a bowl game, but that didn't happen. But at the end of the day, there's got to be severity coming out with punishments.
Wow. Jared, your thoughts, and I'm just gonna say this right quick. It's the fact this is mediocre. How the world that one exception this year that you reward mediocrity more than anything else, and I think calling Mississippi State. But if you had to come down to try to get losing teams to play, I understand. But if you know things are going to be bad like this, in any kind of circumstance like this, football lesson is learned. If you can't get a team that has a winning record in this kind of circumstances, again, don't have the game. Just say the hell with it. I hate to not give this other team a bowl bid. We love you, but under unforeseen circumstances, we can't have the game. We're sorry. That's what should have been done. The game should have never been played. Your thoughts, Jared?
Well, we got to remember that the NCAA changed the rule before the season, saying that teams that don't have a winning record can go to a bowl this year. So we can't fault teams for taking a bowl game if they had a losing record. NCAA came out and said, you can go. All right, fine. It is what it is. Now, to your first statement about, it's an embarrassment to lose to SEC team. No, it's not an embarrassment to Tulsa. Tulsa will try to beat any SEC team because that is a major conference, no matter what the record is. Okay, it's the same thing for La Tech back in 2011 when they went to Mississippi, Ole Miss, and beat them. They beat the SEC team, and then a year later they beat a Big 12 team. No, they beat an ACC team in Virginia, and they beat a Big 10 team in Illinois. Okay, yeah, Bob on the map teams, but so what? They beat a major conference team, so it's not an embarrassment of what the record is. Okay, now to the fight itself, we got to remember these players represent Mississippi State, they represent Tulsa, they represent the AAC, they represent the SEC, they represent the NCAA. They represent 5 different categories. Okay, you got to always remember that. You got to have self-control in whatever you do. Yeah, I know it started in the pregame for what I don't know, but that was totally out of hand. That was totally crazy. And yeah, we got to have suspensions handed down. The schools might get fined from their own conference, etc. Something has to be done. That should have never happened. In regards to Malik Heath definitely needs to be kicked off the team. Definitely. When he did the video and he's showing the video and then he's saying, yeah, I threw him down and I kicked him, you got to go, man. You got to go. Because right there, you have no self-control in yourself in what happened and even after the fight. He got to get kicked off. Mike Leach, for just going there and saying something about it, pregame, but not taking actions for what happened and not taking responsibility, saying, I'm the coach of the team, I got to do better. He got to go. He has to go. So
I agree.
Yeah, with that being said, it was ugly. It was totally ugly. It's something you don't want to see in sports. At the end of the day, you want to see sportsmanship in sports at the end of each game. It definitely wasn't there, and it was just an ugly, chaotic scene.
It was a huge chaotic scene, and it looks bad for all both teams. Tulsa just need to get this together. A good program that's coming up. On the Mississippi State side, all I'm gonna tell you, Lane. All I'm gonna tell you, up there in SEC country, Lane Kiffin, get ready. Ole Miss about to take over. Ole Miss about to take over in that robbery. They about to take over because it's looking so bad right now in Starkville. Since Dan Mullen left, things has looked really bad in Bulldog country. So trust me, you ain't seen nothing like this in a long time since after Jackie Sherrill left the program, and then all of a sudden Sylvester Croom had to resurrect the program back. So Mississippi State about to be down in the dumps for a while, especially how this year looks, because the recruiting classes, they're not gonna be going to no Mississippi State. They're gonna be going to Ole Miss, or not just that, Jackson State. I'm telling you, Deion Sanders has been getting some good recruits. So, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be between Ole Miss. It's gonna be between Ole Miss. Jackson State's gonna be getting some recruits. I don't know about Southern Miss, but all I know, those kind of schools, they're gonna take a lot of Mississippi State's recruits and stuff, or they're going to out of state completely. So, not good times right now in Starkville, Mississippi. Not good times at all. Let's go to prep football. Let's try to get this done right quick. I know we're running. way past time. It's college football. But the state championship games, let's do a quick review of all the championships, and we'll discuss more of the three Southeast Louisiana teams who was in the championship games and everything else. And down the line, a very good week for the city of Baton Rouge, the Acadiana area with four state champions. Baton Rouge had about, I believe, two state champions. Central Louisiana had a couple of big time champions, including Manny. North Louisiana had their championship game, which kind of find out Calvary Baptist was way better than All-Star Christian. And also, more than anything else, the three Southeast Louisiana teams went 0-3. Now that has not happened, or 0 has not happened in a while in the state championship. And I think it was the year when I think four or five Baton Rouge schools, and it might have been 3 years ago, when four or five Baton Rouge schools won state championships that week. So, let's go to you, Jared. Your thoughts that the three local representatives, St. Charles Catholic, De La Salle, and Carr, came up short this weekend in the championships, and how the other area schools have been shining.
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised out of two of them because I didn't think St. Charles Catholic and De La Salle would win, even though they put up a good showing. Carr, I thought would win, but they didn't win, and I really thought the coaching side of Carr was poorly done. I don't think they made any adjustments going into halftime. I think every pass play they try to do was just to throw a deep pass because they're Carr and it didn't work. They didn't try no slants, no crossing patterns, no hook patterns with DBs lined up 8 yards off the receiver and not trying to run the ball. I think the game plan was Carr was very poor, in my opinion. And Karen Crow had Carr go on some 3 and outs and just pounded them and got that defense tired and just beat them down 35-19. As far as the Lafayette area, you have to give them credit. We know St. Thomas More is the best team in Division II in regards to basketball and football. They continue to win. We know Lafayette Christian is one of the best teams in football in Division III. They won again. We know Acadiana has been a powerhouse in 5A for years. Here they are with another state championship, and they go back to back. And then Karen Crow, as we just said, I mean, out of nowhere, the biggest O-line I've seen in this year. I think they had a big O-line in Rumble and Brother Martin and so on. From what I saw with my own eyes, maybe y'all saw a big O-line somewhere else, but I really believe Karen Crow had it on their mind and was the best team in 4A after what we saw on Tuesday. So you have to give Lafayette a lot of credit. I think they just run a big parade with all 4 schools. One parade, all 4 schools going down one of those streets. So you have to give Lafayette a lot of credit. Madison Prep, credit. Every team that won, you got to give credit. But that Lafayette area, they have 4 teams. That's pretty impressive.
That was really the shock of the weekend. Was the week of Madison Prep, the domination against Union Parish. I thought that would be the game of the week, but my goodness, Madison Prep was looking at redemption in the face, and he took advantage of it. And wow, what a dominating performance! Your same question to you, George.
For me, I mean, I hate to say I told you so. Karen Crow was going to do this to Carr. I told y'all a couple of weeks ago when I was on that they would punch Carr, and Carr couldn't punch back. I'll say this though: AJ Samuel in defeat showed me some guts, man. He took a lot of punishment in that football game because Karen Crow's defense embodies physicality. Their whole line embodies physicality. Carr had not. I told y'all, Carr would not see a team like this after this year for a while because Karen Crow had the lethal combination of Louisiana high school football that's called speed and power and size. You can play with a team with speed, that's fine. But if you got to deal with their size too, and they can move, them guys average 306, Jared, by the way, on the line. Karen Crow's online, 306. That's some hog mollies, dude. They grow up pretty big near me. So Uh, Carr hadn't seen this kind of team, and then there was some scuttlebutt post game. Bryce Brown should be fired. Y'all need to go. Really. I read some of the blogospheres, though. Bryce Brown's a terrible coach. Oh, all of a sudden he loses a championship and he's terrible, but he wins 4 in a row for you. Really? I mean, leave that alone. Anyway, Acadiana Alexandria was the game of the week, though, of the championships, the
Yes.
5A final. And look, I'm a sucker. I picked Acadiana to win it, and they did, but I was unabashedly rooting for Alexandria, understandably, because I live near Alexandria. Again, some of y'all armchair quarterbacks. Look, you were down 2 scores on 3, excuse me, separate occasions against Acadiana, not against some bums, against Acadiana, and you rallied back all 3 times. The third time, you steal a possession with an onside kick, and you score. And Bachman, I don't think it mattered what was going to happen. He was going for the win, and I would have too. Look, man, kudos to you, big boy. I'd have done the same thing. I'm not trading scores with that team in overtime. 10 yards, negative. We're going to try to win this thing right here, right now. So the call to win it was the right call. Uh, VK, you mentioned Madison Prep destroying Union Parish. Look, I picked Union Parish. I was one of those that I thought their physicality was going to win the game, win the day. Didn't happen. Madison Prep. This is not the only time you're going to see this team. Remember their basketball program? It took them a little while to break through. Look what they've done now. They've won multiple championships. The football team's on the same path. So don't be. They're going to be a mainstay here.
Yeah.
Madison Prep.
Absolutely.
De La Salle, you mentioned De La Salle and St. Charles. Look, I'll start with De La Salle. We all knew that they were up against it, but we also knew it wasn't going to be 58-10 like last year. We knew this game would be a lot more competitive and a lot closer. And there is a state championship with Ryan Manali's name on it. It just wasn't this one. They played St. Thomas More to the T and played them all the way. St. Thomas More, honestly, when you look at all things being equal, look at their schedule. Look what they've run against. They're the best team, regardless of classification. They beat 3 state champions on their schedule.
That's
3.
the same thing Mike Coppin said. That's STM is the best team in the state.
Exactly, and Mike's right. I mean, that team beat Catholic. I think they beat Karen Crow, and goodness, who's the other one? Oh, no, it wasn't Acadiana.
Catholic, Karen Crow, and I think they ain't never played at Acadiana this year, huh?
I don't know. Because Acadiana was undefeated too. But no, St. Thomas More is the best team that was on that field at Turpin. I wanted to touch on, like you mentioned, we touched on St. Charles and Lafayette Christian. Lafayette Christian, the new power, by the way, in Lafayette. They've won their 3rd consecutive title, 2nd in a row in Division 3. And if Frank Monica's team had any offense, because they were right for the pick in Lafayette Christian, if they had any semblance of offensive capability, they win that game. But they didn't. They went in there with their defense. They hung their hat on their defense, and their defense gave them every chance. But that offense is useless. It was no good. And
wow.
Good kudos to Lafayette. And then you mentioned Calvary beating Doug Commander, 62-41. Calvary Baptist is the new power in Shreveport. Evangel, move out the way.
Yeah.
Take your 15-yard personal foul selves and go away. Calvary Baptist is they're the new fool in town. Well, they're not the fool. I'm thinking of Digital Underground in my head. I can't remember the line. But they've got the new script. They are the kings of Shreveport, Calvary Baptist. So, but the best team overall, guys, was St. Thomas More. And that says a lot when you got Acadiana, Karen Crow, Baton Rouge Catholic, who dominated, which we all saw. But St. Thomas More was the big dog in this whole weekend.
And I look at it myself. The best team, I think, all around, I can agree with St. Thomas More. But I'm gonna give it a tie between St. Thomas More and Acadiana. Acadiana had some really good wins this year, and they really were standing out undefeated. St. Thomas More, I give them as a tie for the best team over around the state because they really proved themselves against the best and everything. So I give them tie for number 1, second behind Karen Crow. And I'm gonna say this, and I was dead right on the show. Did I say I did pick Carl, but did I say that Karen Crow had to mix the pass, and they did it.
What
They mixed the
pass?
pass.
What pass?
Did you see?
A
No,
trick
no, no,
pass?
no, no, no,
A
no,
trick
no,
pass?
no, no, no,
What
no. It
pass?
ain't no
What
trick
pass?
pass. No, 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 no.
What
Did you see
pass?
no, no, no. We talking about the play action passes from the first series of the game to lead to a trick play. Then in the second half, they had a couple of play action passes, which the quarterback did. I said it myself. Mix a pass with the run, and it will set it up. And that's what happened. It's just like East Jeff Carr. That's what it just reminded me of.
Your feed must have went backwards a couple times because they did not run a lot of play action passes, bro. They beat them down in
No,
that running game, my brother.
no. Here's the thing.
Wow.
It set up. It set up
Ooh.
the run. This is what I'm telling you.
It set up
Listen. It set up the run. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say they ran play action the whole game. I didn't say they should do that. I said they need to do that. They need to set them up. You can't just run on Carr like that.
They
Because you
did it
got to
like
think.
3-4 times though.
But here's the thing. Late
It
in the
wasn't a
first half,
lot.
if you see, here's the thing. If you seen the whole game like I seen it, late in the first half, here's the thing. Late in the first half, Aaron Crow wasn't hardly running their ball on call. They wasn't. So the thing was, you have to adjust and you got to get Carr's defense off balance. They did that early in the game with a couple play action passes that set up the run. You have to get them off balance. Carr's a team that you're not going to easily run on like talking about it. But I give Karen Crow credit. Listen.
I'm listening.
You know
I'm
I'm
listening.
right. You know I'm right because I watched the whole game.
You're not right. Go ahead,
George, did you see the whole game? You know what I'm talking
I did.
About.
You trying to get me to line up with you, my brother? Oh my God. Hold up. First of all, you know what Jericho did? They had that big haymaker and they threw it at Carr and Carr looked like that dude that got hit with the twisted tea can. That's what they look like. That right. Crazy dude that got whacked with the can. Jericho said, "Here we are. We got these 5 big boys in the front. I got some backs that can get out in the open field. Stop us." And Carr said, wait a minute, bro. We ain't seen this kind of muscle. And they got their proverbial
I agree with that.
Butts whipped.
I agree. Here's the thing. I agree with that, but there was a couple times, and I'm telling you now. Now I'm giving Karen Crow credit. They ran the ball, but at the same time, they did throw the ball a little bit early. That did set it up. I'm saying that because you got to loosen up Carr's defense.
VK.
What's up?
How can you set up the run with the pass in a wing T offense that is run dominant?
But you can pass out of a wing T if you want to. We didn't see that.
VK, yeah, but you making it sound like we're gonna set up the run with the pass, not no wing T. No, they beat them at the line of scrimmage at the run. Yeah, they ran a couple play action passes, but that didn't amount to nothing as much as them runs did.
But they
did a trick pass play. They did a trick pass play. All right, to take any type of momentum from Carr, any type. Because they were down 13-7 going into the second half. A trick pass play. Come on,
but not just a trick pass play. They threw a play action pass to the tight end to set up the trick play. Do you know how many times Karen Crow threw the ball? They threw the ball the whole game 5 times. 5 times. I counted 5. 3 in the first, 3 early in the first half. 3 early. 3 early in the first half. Listen. They threw it 3 times early in the first half, twice in the second half, and they completed them all. The thing was, you want to loosen them up just a little bit because, Carr is not going to be the team that you're going to easily. Now, I give Karen Crow credit. The offensive line wore the defense down later in the game, much later than it did. They did warm down most of the game, especially into the second half, especially when. And here's another thing you got to look at too. A lot of times, Carr missed a lot of tackles too. You got to look at that too. Because
why do you think they missed tackles? Why do you think?
Tired.
Thank you.
They were tired. Tired people make mistakes, man. What
Yeah, tired. There's so-called
Listen,
tired.
if you get tired, if all three of us are on the line against them big dudes, that's some hogs coming at you, man. That ain't sticks. You know, they grown big. Remember, they feed people in Lafayette. They don't
They
feed
sure
that no
do.
cheap nickel and dime nonsense.
Nah, they got
They ain't eating ramen noodles, I can promise you.
Nah,
As
they got
big as
they
big
got the
righty pork
jambalaya,
roast, you name it, they feed it. And
Yes.
the
jambalaya,
attitude they go in there with
cornbread.
the dudes, man, car. Look, they show some gameness. They show some gameness, man. Listen, I'm not gonna bang on Jericho to win, and I told you guys that I thought this potentially could be a double digit win because Karen Cole was unlike any team that we saw this year. You know, this was a throwback Karen Crow. This was a Karen
Yeah.
Crow that remember back in the '90s and the '80s, and excuse me, or the old West Monroes, the Redemptorists. Remember Redemptorists that
Well,
beat
Yes.
John Curtis in the Dome?
Yes.
What
yeah.
did they do? They smashed mouth the dog. You know what out of Curtis?
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Haymaker City. Jay Lucas said, "All right, bro, y'all got 48 minutes to stop me," and they couldn't.
Yep.
Karen Crow was this kind of team. They had muscle. They had strength. They had a little bit of speed.
But
That
but
they
but
could run a little bit. And there was a play that listen up, that VK. I know what you're talking about. There was a play. Excuse me. There was a play in the third quarter where their receiver got behind the defender wide open, and Karen Cross got hit it, of course. But car oxygen tanks were in big supply after that game. I can promise you, them dudes were breathing that stuff some proper
Yeah.
bad because
yeah, and I could see that the fatigue got to him more and more late in the third, because man, they couldn't tackle. But then on top of that, it was like you could see the hands on his side and everything. It's like, yeah, they're getting worn down out here now.
One
Earlier,
down and three and out.
early,
3 and out with the offense. Offense was going 3 and out.
exactly. They went away from the running game. They went away from all that stuff.
They
But at the
didn't run
same
it. They didn't
time,
run the ball. They didn't run it.
I know. I was saying, but I'm on a Car's running game. They should have just maybe went into it a little more. They passed the ball a whole lot, but at the same time,
Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing. Because I sat there and said I thought Carr's game plan was bad from the get go. AJ could never get into any rhythm. But they asked Bryce Brown at the post game press conference, what did Karen Crow's defense do differently in the second half? His answer was they didn't do anything different. So that tells you they didn't make any adjustments from Carr. And I think Bryce Brown is a hell of a coach, a great coach. But I really think this game and their game plan adjustments were just that bad.
I can agree a little bit to that, but at the same time, looking at it overall, and I said it myself, and I was right. Carrico would have to maybe pass it a little bit, because I said the factor, the biggest factor was, and George, you know what I'm talking about. When Carrico lost their last state championship appearance against West Monroe, I said it myself. I didn't say pass the ball whole game. I said have a little bit to loosen up. That's what East Jeff did to beat Carr years ago, especially in the second half. They had to loosen it up a little bit. That's gonna really help. That's gonna really help the offense, and especially with the running game. We know they're gonna wing team. We know that, but at the same time, loosen the defense up a bit, because you loosen them up. That means, guess what? Oh, they got to get back down, and we got to run it again. Now they're tired. Now we can really run it down there. So that's what they did, and I give Karen Crow all the credit in the world. They handled it busy, outplayed Carr. My only concern, my only thing is with all the criticism and stuff, and I was hearing Coach Torrey Davis about how the people was like hating, not just hating, but they wanted to see Carr lose. But that's a part of what it is. But at the same time, people kept on wanting Carr to lose. Well, that's what it is sometimes. But Bryce Brown has done amazing regardless of what happened. Yeah, they did get out coached, but at the same time, the Cards went to 5 straight state championship games. They have
10
six.
out of the last 11.
They won 6. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And they won 6. They won 6 championships. Algiers itself in the city has won 7 with Landry Walker. Orleans Parish has won 7 overall. My thing was, and people keep talking about, and here's the thing, and some people with Orleans Parish, and I talked about it on my live a long time ago, and about the media, but at the same time, about people talking about Bryce Brown should be gone, Jerry Phillips should be gone out of. Do you know a long time ago where you were in the 90s? Crap. Orleans Parish was crap. You had to win district to get into the playoffs. There was only three teams. There was only two teams I knew outside of Edna Carr that went deeper than the second round. That's Old Perry Walker. They went to the Superdome, and that's bullshit. They went to the quarterfinals twice. And things changed more when Wayne Reeves got to McDonald 35. What, 3 semifinal appearances? Orleans Parish was crap back then. Now you're the top one of the top districts in the state of Louisiana. You're getting top 10, top 5 seeds in the playoffs. Be grateful, people. Be grateful. It's like y'all don't know how to enjoy good things. Y'all really don't know how to enjoy good things at all, period. But moving on from there, like I said, Madison Prep did their thing. Catholic of Baton Rouge proving that they were the superior team. The luck ran off of Seabird. The Lafayette area overall was tremendous. Very much tremendous. And looking at everything else, St. Charles Catholic, they had the kind of offense, yeah, they could have won it. And big props to Frank Monica, and I felt for him because that offense was just wasn't enough. The defense played their hearts out. And then De La Salle. De La Salle and Ryan McNally, and this was a championship that was for him, and had the perfect game plan and could have won that game. It was set up for him to win. But that last drive was so key. And I mean, man, for one, with the fumble on the snap was huge. And I mean, they set De La Salle back a bit. But then the timing of the clock and then the 4th down play, I was like, oh my goodness. And I mean, it could have been a better call on 4th down for the ball game than giving the ball to Montrell Johnson, who had a great game for De La Salle, who had a tremendous game. Him and Phillips were running all over St. Thomas More the whole night and had a great game plan. But going to Montrell Johnson for a halfback pass on 4, no. You've got a capable quarterback. I would have read maybe a bootleg or something to have a chance to get a first down and still move the ball. And the way it was looking, the De La Salle scored, I think McNally would have went for 2. I think McNally would have went for 2, went for the win. And that's where it was looking like the setup to be. But that 4th down play, I was like, man, not that play. Not that play. For the state championship, not that play. I think McNally is going to get one. He's got to get one, knowing what he has done in De La Salle. But I thought this was the time, especially the way they played against St. Thomas More. St. Thomas More was a great team, but De La Salle was this close of knocking them off. And I mean, what a great game it was. Besides the Alexandria and Arcadia game, that was one of the best games of the whole weekend. De La Salle and St. Thomas More. I mean, it was so close. But man, before we move on right quick, Jared, your thoughts. Should this year more than anything else is it the test that could they refix this thing and stop with this split and hopefully the classes will come back together?
Don't matter what I think, but I hate the split. I hate it. We don't get the type of championships that we would like to see. I mean, we would like to see maybe Rummel against Acadiana, or maybe in 3A, maybe one day a Lafayette Christian against a Union Parish or Madison Prep. We just to me being robbed of better matchups due to the split. So yeah, I would like it to go back to 5 classes, everybody, in their respective class.
George, also same question. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we're gonna have meetings here in the next 3 weeks or so. I think the principals are gonna get together. They're gonna rehash this, drop down to 7 classes, 4 non-select, 3 select. 9 championships is entirely too many. This ain't Oprah Winfrey, bro. We're not handing out participation trophies. That's what's going on with the LHSA. Everybody's making the playoffs. Man, there's winless teams getting in the playoffs. One-win teams. Come on, man. What are you
Right.
telling your kids? Like you've been getting the break beat off you all year long, and you're playing in the playoffs. Yeah, we're gonna play next week. Like a few years ago, Manny was the 1 seed. One of the years they won. I think they won the title against Kinder. Their first round opponent was against a team that scored 23 points in 10 games, Mentorship Academy. And you're telling those kids they had to go all the way to Manny. From Mentorship Academy, that's near around Baton Rouge, I believe. Uh, and they got to get on a bus knowing they couldn't win. Man, those kids' psyche was defeated. If I'm the LHSA and Eddie Bonine, fix this. I'm like Jared. I don't want to see trash, bro. I mean, but you know what? I'll give some credit. Some of the games in this championship window were good. Acadiana, Alexandria, obviously. Lafayette, St. Charles, if you like physical and defense, that was you. Wichita Christian and Calvary, if you like scoring, that was you. Dallas South, St. Thomas More, very good games. So there were more good games than bad games this year. Karen Crokar could have been good all the way, but Karen Crow wore him down. But like I said, a majority of the games this year were not 70-0. I mean, you had the one shellacking with Madison Prep over Union Parish, but other than that, they were reasonable facsimiles of games that were competitive. It wasn't the complete skull dragging like we've seen the last few years in the Superdome. I think the other thing that I'm going to take away from this is the great job Natchitoches did in hosting this. You know, I'm prejudicial. I want the Dome to be the only place to host championships, but Natchitoches in a pinch did a heck of a job, y'all. Let's
Hmm.
give them some props. And the
Definitely.
dudes up there
Yes.
and Natchitoches did a great job. And in a short time span where they had to, where they had to put together this and logistics and everything else, I'd have been there if my work schedule would have allowed it, but didn't happen. Um, but and I get what Bonan was saying about why he moved it to Natchitoches. Look, I don't live in New Orleans anymore, and I'm not going to sit here and use that stupid name that some people are using on Latoya Cantrell. Do I think she's smart? No. Do I think she does some stupid things? Absolutely. But to call her what these people on Twitter and the spheres are calling her, y'all need to chill. New Orleans will get it back. We'll be fine. They're gonna sit back. COVID is gonna hopefully these vaccines are the solution going forward and that we can get things right and get some normalcy. But credit the LHSA for playing this season, for allowing these kids the opportunity to play a season. Whether it's 8 games, it doesn't matter. You got 9 teams that are champions, as we saw January 2nd, 2021. So, it was a season like no other. But the championships, I think, in my mind, and I'm sure you guys agree, it felt like that was the first piece of medicine to normalcy.
Yeah.
State championship games, we got to this point. We were able to see 9 champions crowned. This was a good thing. Now let's build on it. Let's shake back and get rid of this damn COVID once and for all and get right.
Absolutely, and we can't wait to see what happens down the line with high school basketball. We will have a basketball hoop spectacular coming up on the VK Jones show coming up soon. We'll talk a little bit about high school basketball a little bit as well, from college basketball and pro basketball. And high school basketball has been really, really interesting this year, and we can't wait to see what happens coming up for the state championships in basketball. Because I ain't gonna lie, I know Lafayette has nice area teams. I know out there in the Alexandria area, but I know right now New Orleans is popping with some talent this year. Some very good talented teams.
Don't
So,
you can't forget Baton Rouge, bro.
oh
Can't
yeah,
forget Baton
we
Rouge.
can't forget about BR. Oh no, we can't forget about the Kings right now so far that's taken over in basketball. And that's Baton Rouge. So we can't forget about them. So we'll talk about that down the line, but hopefully they'll get their games. Everything will be better than normal. but hopefully they can end this split, put all the class. I would love to see some of these great matchups in all these sports to finally put all these differences aside and let's have a legitimate champion, a true champion. And finally, before we move on, all I'm gonna tell you is while Ed and Carr, they will be back. Very
Oh
young
yeah.
team. They will be back. And I think this is a lesson AJ Samuel will take going into next year. Remember what happened to Alden Clark after his first state championship appearance and then after. So watch what happen next year. But
What's the lesson that he lost? He lost, and he's gonna want to come back stronger. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
yeah, the experience and the and learning from not just the losing, the experience. Because
okay.
Alden Clark had to take that the year before when he went to the
Hmm.
dome. And just Deshaun Denham had to look at the game again. Because I said it myself, and I looked at the game. I said, looking at the numbers of Alden Clark against Neville, I said Alden Clark could have had 400 to 600 yards passing and 8 touchdowns. And
Hmm.
then I was like, how you gonna say that? Look at the whole game. Look at how many drops in the second half that they dropped on Alden Clark. And they was like, oh man, you're absolutely right. I'm like, he washed Neville. It's just the fact that they just didn't catch the ball. Next year, look what happened. Not just with Alden Clark, with all what
Hmm.
they had returned and how dominant they became. And to me, maybe the best car team I've ever seen. So watch out for next season, because they might be as good as that team. So we'll see. But let's go to the NFL right now. Skip through some things, Jared. The NFL right quick before we go into our sports year in review. The New Orleans Saints going against the Carolina Panthers tomorrow. We had some news earlier yesterday that the New Orleans Saints, very good fellow running back, one of our favorite players, Alvin Kamara. How about that? He's on the COVID list. How about that? On the COVID list, he will not be playing, and hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. But it's going to be critical for the Saints to win this game tomorrow. And it's really, and I hate to say this, and I'm gonna say this right now, stupidity. People being stupid right now and not taking this thing serious. I understand that this thing is a mental thing. People don't know how to stay still. I get it, but you're under contract. You're making millions of dollars. You have a job. Act like you have a job. Jared, your thoughts on Alvin Kamara not playing and what the Saints' chances is tomorrow against the Panthers?
This is when discipline comes into key. And right now, you got to be disciplined. You have to be looking out for you, your family, and your fellow teammates. Okay, because this is a contagious disease. Alvin Kamara didn't show any type of self-discipline. He got his 6 touchdowns. He wanted to go out, celebrate, go to the clubs and everything. No mask on. Also, where he went to, bam, he gets hit with COVID. You gotta be smarter. Gotta be smarter. You gotta. The whole team gotta make sacrifice. The Saints like to go out. They like to go to clubs, but this year you gotta be smart and just stay at home and go to practice, which they pretty much have done. But we saw Kamara. We saw the picture of him in the club. You got to be smarter. Now, with that being said, you don't have Kamara. You don't have Murray, because Murray was a close contact or contract, how you call it, of Alvin Kamara. So the running backs we have
Oh,
tomorrow is Ty Montgomery and somebody off the practice squad. So that's why you have to be smart. You got to be disciplined, because you're putting the whole team at risk. Now the whole running back unit who works together mostly at practice, they're out. So right now, I'm still gonna go with the Saints because Carolina isn't that good. No McCaffrey, but we playing for the number 1 seed, and every bit of help can help us. But no AK-41 and no MT-13. This gonna be a tough one. But I really think the Saints will still pull out in a close one.
now, looking at it tomorrow, the situation for the Saints, the only way the Saints get the 1 seed if Green Bay loses tomorrow and Seattle wins. If there's a three-way tie between the Saints, Green Bay, and Seattle, the Saints has the tiebreaker. So right now, New Orleans is rooting, and I'm rooting for the Bears. Chicago Bears, we have a big check for you. And your business tomorrow, you will have the check mailed to you. Carolina couldn't do it a couple weeks ago. We need you this Sunday. We have a check waiting for you. So handle your business. Saints need to take care of theirs because home field is what the Saints need because the Saints don't need to go to no goddamn on Green Bay. George, your thoughts on this issue with Kamara and what do you think the Saints will do tomorrow against the so for my wife's team, the Panthers?
Oh, here we go. Better watch it, boy. That frying pan might be waiting for you. No, but all kidding aside, let's call this for what it is. It's just sheer irresponsibility on Alvin Kamara. And look, I love me some AK-41. The dude is a monster. When he's right, and you see the right Alvin Kamara this year, he has not had any ankle lingering issues or nothing like that he had last year. He wasn't running limited. The dude is a star, and he's a beast. That cat can go. But now you got not him and not Latavius and not Michael Burton either, the fullback. He's
Right.
out.
Yeah.
So you're down to Montgomery, and you got Torrey Jones, I think is his name. I can't even. I saw it just a few minutes ago. Bet the under. Whatever the over under total is, take the under. I think this is going to be a close to the vest kind of game. I think the Saints, they're not going to play track and field in Carolina tomorrow. Listen, Carolina this year, the record's not going to reflect it, but they battled all year long. Look at last week. They went into Washington, a team that has everything to play for, had everything to play for, still does tomorrow night. But Carolina went there on the road and pulled out a win. Teddy Bridgewater, they're going to say what they want. Oh, they need to draft a quarterback. Maybe so. Maybe Bridgewater is literally, quote, a bridge to whoever they're thinking about, but he's not on their roster now. But Carolina's not going to quit. Matt Rule, all he needs is parts. If he has Christian McCaffrey back next year and they get a good free agency class and a good draft, Carolina could be a team to sniff to watch out for going forward. Because when you look at the Tampa Bay and Atlanta, those teams are going to start transitioning out of the eras they got. Tom Brady for Tampa, Matt Ryan for Atlanta. And the ultimate double birds for Atlanta would be awesome. Would be Matt Ryan and Julio Jones coming to the Saints, which will never happen. But that would be just to shoot the double bird to Atlanta. As far as what the Saints need to do tomorrow, I'm glad the NFL is using a little bit of common sense. They don't have much. Roger Goodell ain't exactly. He fits a dunce cap real good. But I'm glad that the Bears game, Saints game, and Seahawks game is all at the same time. I ain't gonna be paying attention to scoreboards. Forget that. Handle your business on the field. We're gonna see which one of these teams got the maturation and the intel and the intellect to focus on the job at hand. I'm not worried about what Chicago's gonna do to Green Bay potentially. I'm not worried about Seattle. If I'm a Saints player, I'm worried about what I got to do to beat Carolina and let the other stuff handle itself.
That's right.
Chicago and speaking of that, Chicago can beat Green Bay. Will they? Maybe. I'll say this: that offense is looking mighty, mighty strong now with Trubisky at the helm the last month. They've really kicked it into gear. So yeah, there's a chance. And I don't know where this big check's coming from. Have you talked to your wife about this big check that you want to give Chicago, BK? I'm curious to know, bro. I mean, do you have some bank we don't know about? And where's me and Jared's cut?
Well, let me tell you something. I have some little partners. You know what I'm saying? Some partners.
We your partners too?
Y'all my partners too, but I'm talking about some big money partners. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, it's like that. It's always a class warfare now, Jared.
Yeah. I can't reveal it too much. We kind of keep in contact on certain
things.
Look
here, Mr. Corleone.
And they tell me like straight up, hey, we got this check right here, and it's actually some people from the Saints too that call me up. You know what I'm saying? We try to make some good investments, so that's what it's all about. We already sent the check to the Indianapolis Colts, so we thank them for their work. Now we need to do something for the Bears that they handle their business. Chad Thibodeau, he says that put Taysom Hill at running back, which I think that's not bad of a strategy, Chad. And that could be something that the Saints could do. That's good because Taysom does have some speed on him, so we'll see about that. You know what I'm saying? But But looking at it, I hope the Saints get it done. I think it'll be close. Teddy Bridgewater is really showing that he's the future of the Carolina Panthers and the Saints. Mickey Loomis and them. Now you're looking a little stupid, but it is what it is. But regardless of that, him and also the offense coordinator for the Panthers is doing a very good job, and it that's Joe Brady, NFL experience and everything, LSU. But now things are looking good right now for the Panthers. It's gonna be close. I think the Saints will pull it out. Yeah, bet the under. Really, don't bet it at all. If I was you, just a no bet. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You don't want to waste your money. Don't touch it. Just don't. It's a don't touch game. I think the Saints win. I think Kamara, what he did is stupid in itself. But I think the Saints will win, and I think the Bears will win tomorrow. Bears will win, Seattle will win, and business will be taken care of. All I know, I do not want the Saints to go to Lambeau. I don't want it to happen. Not this year. Not this year. This is going to be a lot more tougher to win in Lambeau since over the years.
Man.
A lot more tougher, even without fans. Because you got to think it's going to be a lot more colder in that stadium than a little bit without fans. So
tell me one time where cold weather is going
go.
to affect one team and not the other. Stop. I want that matchup. Here's why. The Saints are physical enough to punch Green Bay in the mouth, and Green Bay cannot, against this Saints team, punch back. I think anybody want Green Bay right now, today, January 2nd, 1:35 p.m. Central Standard Time. Y'all want the Packers? I'll tell you what, no, I'll go even better. You want the field? I'll take the Saints at the NFC. Windows wide open. Give me New Orleans. They are as good as anybody in this NFC. Don't tell me Tampa Bay. Stop this 3 times and all that noise. That definitely not the NFC East winner. I don't care if it is. I love my Giants, but man, and boy, oh boy, it's gonna suck to lose to the Cowboys tomorrow. You know, but please. I mean, all I'm saying is Seattle. All right, if they're completely healthy, maybe. I love Russell Wilson, but I'm not sold on their defense, bro. I mean, yeah, they did get Carlos Dunlap and they've gotten a little bit better, but I feel like there's some leakage still there. Who else? The Rams, please. They lost to the Jets. All right. Next,
And
Chicago.
no
even if
Jared,
they get to the playoffs, they're not gonna last long. Arizona, look, they had their chance last week and they messed up.
no Jared Goff. No Jared Goff tomorrow.
Really, yeah. And Arizona to get to the playoffs got to be John Wilford, a Wake Forest cast-off.
Yep.
All right.
All I
That's what
know
you got
is
to go get tomorrow to make and then they need Chicago to lose. They got a chance to get in, but it don't matter. I love me some Kyler Murray. He's practiced all week, but tomorrow is the best day of the NFL calendar. Why? I mean, everybody talks about opening day. No, I like this week. Why? Because there's 18 teams still alive for playoff spots. 18. So it's going to be a lot of scrambling, and Scott Carson got the best job in the NFL tomorrow. That's the man that hosts the NFL Red Zone. Watch it. It's fun to watch. That dude, 7 hours. I don't know if I could do it, bro. I mean, 7 hours of football without snacking or using the restroom. I mean, that dude's got a hell of a job, and that's the best job to have tomorrow, especially tomorrow. So it's going to be a great day tomorrow.
Money on that too.
What's that?
And it's a double header, and he's making great money out that one. And plus,
for real,
it's a double header on both networks. Yep. That's the great thing about the last week of the season. There's a double header on CBS and Fox. So there's you're not getting left out on nothing. You can watch Red Zone.
But I'm curious if the post game tomorrow, if Carolina beats New Orleans, what's going to happen in North Carolina tomorrow after that game, dog? I mean, I just want to know. I mean, because you've been running a lot of jack, Mr. Jones, about the Saints and the Panthers. And if Carolina bursts the Saints' bubble tomorrow, Mama Jones is gonna bust you bad.
I'm just right now in way she's feeling. If she was 100%, I would be kicking the trash can like I did a couple years ago when the Saints lost to Minnesota. I kicked the freaking trash can in my apartment because she was like, "Are you crazy?" I was like, "No, you don't understand the history of being a Saints fan and the losses we have taken. This is like maybe the worst ever, and if we get tired of that same old shit, and it happened again, it's almost like make it stop. So If the Carolina Panthers win, I'll be mad, but I'm not gonna be mad. I'm just gonna
Don't
like,
be.
okay, whatever. Just she's scared to bet me. She's scared to bet me. And she knows she might lose the bet. She already lost a bet earlier this year. The Tar Heels in Florida State, and you know what happened in that game.
Yes,
So
we do.
she lost that bet. So I don't know. I think she's a little scared, but you know, it's whatever. So I see about them all. But but the playoffs should be fun, man. Let's go now to our year in review in the sports year. I mean, this was one of those years. It was kind of real crazy this year more than anything else. The coaching changes everywhere. It was one thing that was just so crazy. For one, the lack of black coaches, yeah, but some of it was like, okay, some firings was surprising more than anything else. You know, I'm gonna say one thing about that. I think some coaches got to be held accountable, regardless of what color. I always root for African Americans to do what they got to do, but sometimes we have to be held accountable to do our jobs and handle our business. Now, what happened with Derek Mason at Vanderbilt was absolutely wrong.
It was coming though.
Positively dead wrong.
It
It
was
was coming.
It was
It was
coming.
coming. It was coming. But at the same time, this was a 1 year you should have had a do-over because of all that he had to face and deal with at Vandy. And that to me was not right. That should have just been like, let's do a do-over. If things don't happen, hey, you gotta go. I knew it was coming, but not this year after what he had to deal with. That's ridiculous. And some of that was uncontrolled by him. Now, Kevin Sumlin, that's a different story. We knew this was coming out the gate. I mean, the problem with Kevin Sumlin over the years, and I really think, and I always said it myself, not bad of a coach, but you really never had a defensive coordinator. Your offense can score, but you never had a defense. You had a defense, maybe you win a couple conference championships. That happened in Houston. Just never had a defense. Same thing at Texas A&M. You finally got a defensive coordinator. The defense still kind of up and down and all that stuff. Now Arizona, the place that you might not have that much pressure, you don't thrive, and guess what? You're done. So it's a huge difference more than anything else. It's about accountability. But there's some coaches that got messed over this year, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with these openings, but also with black coaches as well. And they even talk about Marvin Lewis coming back to the Texans, which I think, in my opinion, would be a dumb hire for the Houston Texans. Because of the fact of the matter is, you're gonna hire a guy that's not won a playoff game and has also had ran a team that was full of undiscipline. So you're gonna bring somebody in that already the franchise has already been destroyed by a coach and a GM to somebody that can't really control any of his players. So I don't understand it, but I hope for Deshaun Watson's sake, the Texans don't hire Marvin Lewis, and that's just my honest opinion, because you need to upgrade and bring in somebody that knows what they're doing. Either Anthony Lynn than Marvin Lewis. And the thing about Andy Lynn that he's probably going to be out in San Diego is, the biggest thing about Andy Lynn is you can't finish games. You can't finish games. There's too many 1-point losses. You have to finish games. I like Anthony Lynn, but you got to win. You have to win. It is too many times. I used to give Andy Lynn benefit of the doubt. Now the games that they have lost, knowing what could have been done, is like, dog, no, bro, you about to be out of a job. You got to get stuff done. You cannot just hang on your head like that. But I think it's accountability more than anything else. But I hope more black coaches do get a chance. But at the same time, it's got to be the right people. It's got to be the right people. Not just that, you got to have the right mind, and you got to take care of business. Or else you're going to be out the door. That's a short window in itself. George, give me your thoughts on how these coaching changes, and also the subject of like black coaches.
Well, there's one thing you know about me, and we've known each other a long, long time, you and I. I'm a very blunt person, and I'm gonna tell you what like it is. The fact that how many black coaches have been fired since, we're towards the back end of the season. We're at just about at the end of the season with a few bowl games to go and the championship. How many black coaches have been fired? 10, I think, right? I think it's been
Right.
10 or something like that. How many of them have been replaced with black coaches? Zero. Tell me again, what's wrong with this picture? I mean, I hear these stupid idiots talking about, well, white coaches and this and that and whatever. The one thing I will tell you, white coaches have a longer leash than black coaches. That's a fact.
Fact.
See Tyrone Willingham at
Right.
Notre Dame. How did a fat slob like Charlie Weiss get 7 years, 6 to 7 years, and Willingham only got 2? Do y'all see the problem? If y'all don't, shame on you. You mentioned Derek Mason. Look, he took Vanderbilt to 3 bowl games. 3. They didn't win. They didn't have winning seasons. They would get there at the break even mark at 6-6, which is the benchmark to get to a bowl game. But Derek Mason, look, I love me. I like the guy. I think he was a good assistant at Stanford. Uh, you want me to tell you the other big problem? We talk about these coaches getting fired. What about somebody like David Shaw not getting a sniff at other big jobs like Michigan? Let's say Michigan was, to example, was to whack Harbaugh, which I wouldn't mind. He'd be the first guy I'd want. I mean, he coaches at Stanford like they're in the SEC. Okay, they're a physical football team. What about Freeman, the coach at the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati, Marcus Freeman? That dude needs to be a head coach. Look at the job he did yesterday against that Georgia team, a Georgia team that clearly outskilled Cincinnati, offense to defense, and his game plan was there. It's just a stupid thing that Fickle messed up late. Clock management, less mouse part 2. Cincinnati should have won that game, but
Mm.
the fact that no black coaches have been hired. Look at Louisiana Monroe. They fired Matt Viator, white guy. There's an opportunity for a black coach, a non-power 5 program. Build your resume. No, let's go get Terry Bowden. Oh yeah, by the way, let's go. Let's see who his number 2 guy is going to be. Y'all heard? Rich Rodriguez. Yeah, as a Michigan fan, that stinks, bro. There's blatant racism in collegiate sports, in sports, period. But it's, I think, more pronounced, excuse me, at the collegiate level. The fact that no African American coaches have been hired, and don't tell me Deion Sanders at Jackson State, that's a black college. I don't want to hear all that noise. That's emptiness to me. The fact that this is a white guy telling you this. I'm gonna say, like I said, I'm not afraid to say it. I don't care who I piss off right now. I really don't care. Athletic directors, it's a good old boy club, and we're living it, and it's 2021. 2021, not 1960, not in the height of the civil rights era when you had segregation and separate bathrooms and this and separate restaurants and all that. We're not living in that era, y'all. We're living in 2021. This shouldn't even be discussed. But you know what? We got racist athletic directors, racist SIDs, racist, you know, and you know what? Fight me, challenge me. I want somebody to challenge me, right? I mean, I want somebody to tell me something because I'll debate you till the cows come home, prop their feet up, take a bath, use the bathroom, whatever. I'll debate y'all. I'm not afraid of any debate. Let's go. But there's, and if somebody tells me there's no racism in sports, you're lying. Not just to me, but to yourself. And that's how I'm leaving that.
And it's racism everywhere, especially you're right about that, especially in those colleges and some of those places. You're right about that.
Hmm.
Even it's racism in even in black broadcasting. That's something I'll talk about down the line. You know what I'm saying? So I've been through a lot of that crap, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm doing what the hell I want to do. So I can just parlay certain things and do it in a certain, but I'm gonna do it my way right now because I'm not getting paid by the man. I'm not getting paid by this, that, and the third. Because sometimes you gotta play the game how it goes right there. And that's what it is. But looking at it down the line, ULM, yeah, they could have just got somebody tweeted one time about Tony Hall could have been a candidate, but knowing what's going on at ULM and the direction where Tony Hall is right now, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Stay in Hawaii. You don't need to come to ULM. Not just the fact that they're racist, but the direction of the program is not in a good direction. So don't even waste your time. And I think Brian Shaw should be looked at. The
David
only thing
Shaw.
about Brian Shaw, and
Brian
I
David
love
Shaw.
David Shaw.
Oh,
Yeah.
David Shaw. I'm sorry. David Shaw. I love David Shaw. Loving to death. The biggest thing about David Shaw is this. He's gotta get over that hump of big games. He's winning some, but he's always had that hiccup. That one hiccup. If he could get over that one hiccup, like he's a great coach, and I love what he's doing. And I'm glad Stanford's doing the same thing that they did with Ty Willingham. They're keeping consistency on and off the field. They want Shaw, and they're not going to let him go. But at the same time, I think he just need to get over the hump, over some hiccups. If he does that, I'm telling you, Stanford's going to get in the national championship picture one of these years. Then I know he's going to go somewhere big, and I hope he gets the look. Jared, your thoughts on the lack of black coaches and all these things that happened in the offseason?
In regard to black coaches, you've heard me say 1,000 times. Tyrone Willingham was done wrong after a year and a half. Charlie Strong was done wrong. And then recently, I said Willie Taggart was done wrong after a year and a half. When in that year and a half time span, he had a better record than Sky Frost, who was at Nebraska. Sky Frost is still at Nebraska, and he isn't winning at Nebraska. So the writing is on the wall of what happens to black coaches compared to white coaches. George said it all. He said everything. I mean, it's nothing more I can really add on to that. It's the fact that what I can add on is that Tom Herman got fired today. Just like that, they have a brand new coach, Steve Sarkisian. Whether even an interview process with other coaches, even including black coaches, the way it sounds like no, not at all. For a man to get fired today and you got a new head coach like that. So we're not even being looked at to be interviewed, which is another problem. Okay. Black coaches who have been coaching in the college football game and even the NFL game should be looked at and deserve chances. Deserve a chance to coach. Okay, having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 black head coaches in the college football game, that is a shame in itself. There should be more, and they deserve the right to be interviewed also.
Very much agreed. Very much agreed on that one. I know we have our differences with the Willie Taggart thing, but I respect that. I have a different opinion on it, and I think everybody knows where I go with that. But I'm not going to express it too much. But I feel you what you're going. I feel what you're saying with the transition more than anything else. Yeah, teams need to be looked at. I think, and I always say to this day, if they did Willingham wrong, that's why I can't. Most time I can't stand Notre Dame because of that.
Oh, me too.
And then on top of that, with Charlie Strong, I think they did him wrong. But at the same time, I thought that was coming because I think plain and simple, the cases with Willie Tag, with Charlie Strong and Tyrone Willingham, and I always say this kind of thing, and it's true. It's like sometimes right place, wrong time. I think they came to the right place, but just at the wrong time. Because sometimes, certain times you might come there in a situation you think is great, but come find out the situation is not what it is. That's the thing right now that Charlie Strong went to, because they got a lot of racial connotations in Texas, and it's still there.
Everywhere.
You just
Even at
everywhere.
LSU.
But
Even at LSU.
Yeah, but especially at Texas, particularly. Knowing the stories I heard from UT, I know LSU is bad, but what UT had is ridiculous. Besides UT and Ole Miss, I mean, my God. I mean, the fact of what Charlie Strong went through and everything was absolutely unbelievable. And knowing what's going on, I was thinking one thing or the other that I think Strong. If Strong has a nice start, he'll be okay. But I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, he shouldn't have left Louisville. I'm sorry. Like certain situations, not what it is.
Hey,
Like with
look,
Scott Frost,
we
he's
talk
still at
about we
Nebraska.
talk about black coaches getting a chance. He got a chance at
Right.
Texas. I don't think
Oh
nobody would
yeah,
turn that
I'm
down,
not.
bro.
I'm not knocking that. I understand, but I look at it of a side of any other person and a human being. There's nothing wrong with taking opportunities, but at the same time, if something is not what it is, and seeing what you already have that's good in the situation, sometimes you have to sometimes really think about it because sometimes the grass is not really green on the other side than you think it is. Like
Yeah, that's true. But
I'm not knocking what Charlie Strong did, but at the same time, I was thinking what he had set up at Louisville was really good. And knowing the direction that Texas was going, I was like, I don't know. Because what you got now is really good. Like
let me
with the Scott Frost thing and everything, to me, it's almost like, and even Bovani Jones said it, what the hell you was thinking leaving UCL? Not
let
with
me
knowing what you got.
let me ask
Just
you this
saying.
question. Let me ask you this
Yeah.
question. Did Nick Saban build LSU and Alabama from out of the grave?
Hmm. Well, yeah, but you look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did. And Nick
So
Saban is a real good coach. You know what I'm saying? And he had a great background even before he got to LSU. You know what I'm saying? And I just knew in the back of my head what LSU was gonna have when they hired him. I'm like, this dude did wonders at Michigan State. I'm like, this dude can take LSU to another level, and he did it. And
mhm.
then all of a sudden he did it again in Bama because I think a lot of people, and he always regrets to the day that he left LSU. And
Yeah.
I wish he never left LSU. That's the best coach that ever came out of LSU, in my opinion. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So, and you're right, but sometimes opportunities are there. You have to take them, but sometimes you have to rethink about certain things because you might think the situation could have been better with what it was.
Let
Because
me ask you. Let me
there's
ask you one more question.
go ahead. Go ahead, ask me one more
Let me
question.
ask you one more question. One more question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, what do you think about Billy Napier not taking the Auburn job, being offered 4.2 million a year?
Hmm. Well, here's my opinion on that, and this is almost similar to what happened to Mark Husband years ago. Mark Husband had a couple of jobs when he was at ULL and he decided to stay. He has something that he wants to build at ULL, and more than anything else, I think he likes the community. I think he likes everything else. I think Napier made a great decision by not taking Auburn job because Auburn has the most impatient administration and fan base in America. Look what happened to Tommy Tuberville. Knowing what he's done at that school, especially taking an Auburn team that was undefeated, it should have been in the national championship. All of a sudden, a couple of years later, gone. Same thing with Terry Bowden. They are just so impatient. I understand how they feel, but come on, they need to have things synced in and understanding. We know we're Alabama's stepchild, but if we have some consistency, we're gonna be okay. We can't. We got to be. We have to be thankful for what we have instead of just now. If things got really bad with Malzahn, I get it. I get it. You got to pull the trigger.
I wouldn't have fired
But
him.
at the same time, yeah, I wouldn't fire it either. That's the main guy that got you that national championship years ago under Gene Chizik. So, like I said, the Gene Chizik, out of all the firings Auburn has had over the years, and I watched the history, I watched a lot of Auburn football. To me, the Gene Chizik firing was probably the most legit firing that I've seen from Auburn. Because Gene Chizik ain't did jack at Iowa State. And how in the world he got hired, and it showed. But see, at the same time, all the other firings have been a big question because I'm like, Auburn showed me that they are very impatient people, very impatient fan base and administration. So I think Napier did the right thing. I think a bigger opportunity will probably have Napier to go. Like if it would have been Texas, he'll probably go if it been Texas. If it would have been, I think the ideal situation for Napier, to be honest with you, is Mississippi State. Now, if Mississippi State, some way, somehow, if things are over with Leach, and I really think they might keep Leach for maybe another year, because you got to think of how much the buyout is going to be for Mike Leach. I think the Mississippi State gig would be something that he would jump on and lead. I think maybe a job like I can't say no, not Vandy. I could say Missouri, maybe Missouri, or somewhere like like maybe a top five program like a UCF, or maybe like one of those Big 12 schools or something. Something that has an ideal situation that he'll go.
Look,
Auburn is not really the perfect situation for
I'm
Billy Napier.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. If I was Billy Napier, I would have took that job. And I'm gonna say this: if it didn't work out at Auburn, a small school was gonna hire him again because he's a good coach. So if it didn't work out at Auburn,
I agree with
he have a
that.
job at another place. I'd have took that job.
I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't.
Look, I'm gonna throw a
Mm,
crazy prediction. Look, the NFL is gonna have Black Monday here in a few days, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know, the end of the regular
mm,
season. What usually happens? Coaches' jobs open. So, what have we heard? You know, what was the popular rumor earlier this year about the Cowboys when they were stinking it up? That McCarthy was the wrong guy. That Lincoln Riley was really the guy Jerry Jones wanted. Lincoln Riley is going to get looked at by NFL teams. Now, if there's a job that he wants and he takes, man, if I'm Billy Napier, Oklahoma's coming calling, take that job like fast. You got a freshman
mm,
quarterback you can mold around, Spencer Rattler, who lit Florida a new one a few nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've got him coming back as a sophomore. If I'm Napier, look, I love Lafayette. I love what they've done. And Napier, I mean, he's just a pipeline of good coaches. Mark Hudspeth was a very good coach there. Then
Yeah.
he ran into some problems, and he rebirthed himself at Austin Peay and turned a winless program into a playoff team.
Yeah.
And then something happened. I don't know the situation. I can't speak to. I don't know. And he's out.
yeah.
But Napier, if Lincoln Riley leaves Oklahoma, if Auburn's considering Napier, Oklahoma is just as good. Man, if they come calling, I'm answering. You know, that'd be the job because you're playing in a wide open conference and you've got, like I said, a quarterback that you've got skill positions. You recruit pretty well. You do
Mm-hmm.
really well in Lafayette. Look at the Cajuns. I mean, look at their bowl teams. They've won. You know, uh, if Oklahoma comes, and it's a crazy prediction because I'm not sure Lincoln Riley's going to the NFL. But if he so happens to fall in love with one of these jobs and take it, then man, if I'm Billy Napier and Oklahoma's calling me, ring a ding ding, I'm on my way. How much? How much? Let's go.
I agree. I think that's the ideal job for him. I think that's very, very ideal for Billy Napier to take that position. Let's go right quick of our let's go with our male and female athletes of the year. Let's go right quick. Let's try to make it quick and so we can just try to finish strong. George, your pick for male and female athlete of the year.
Hmm. No, I didn't even think about this. I didn't know we were going to bring this up, but in the year of the pandemic, where we've had a lot of uncertainty, um, you know what? I'm going to blanket this for both. I mean, I don't want to give standouts. I mean, I can go with, wow. I don't know. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know if it's fair to pick one in each area because again, you talk about what we're going through. The fact that we're even playing sports, I think it should be a year like this, where the fact that we've got sports back and we're talking it, and athletes are going out there doing it. Uh, if I'm going to go male athlete of the year, though, if I had to pick one, it's a guy that didn't win the MVP, and I'm not a big fan. I'm not the biggest lover of him, but LeBron James, man. I mean, I would go LeBron for male athlete of the year. The fact that he's playing at a high level at 36, the dude, and that's when athletes' bodies start to chip away. That's when that mold starts to chip. You know, for him to continue the standard of excellence, and he really should have been the MVP this past year, but he wasn't because look. I love me some Giannis. That dude is a stud. And, yeah, I got a little prejudice because I'm Greek and he's Greek too. So there's that. Female athlete of the year. Again, I'm going to go with
Hmm.
somebody who uh, came back from a horrible asthma condition, Serena Williams. I know it's crazy because she didn't have the Serena year, but who who could have it considering the backlog of schedule? But she's what, 38 or 39 now, I think.
39, 39. Yeah.
39,
Mhm.
and she's still playing at a high level. I reward athletes like that. You know, and again, what is the standard of excellence this year? I mean, it's an abnormal 2020, right? So in that vein, I'm going to go with those two.
Jared.
My male athlete of the year is Patrick Mahomes. Guy's a stud, guy's a beast, best quarterback in the game. Patrick Mahomes is my male athlete of the year.
Okay.
Female athlete, um, George said Serena, and you can't go wrong with Serena. I said a couple years ago when Serena was like 35 years old, I said I think she's coming down from that hump due to age, and she won't do the slams like she used to, but she might win one from time to time. Serena is a beast, but she's not my female athlete of the year. My female athlete of the year is Amanda Nunes in the UFC. Baddest woman on the planet. No one could beat her. Amanda Nunes, my female athlete of the year.
Well, my female athlete of the year, I like that Manny Nunez one, very very good. I'm gonna go with Naomi Osaka. She had a great year on the tennis court. She done a lot in the community and everything else. I like her a lot. She's been really doing well on the tennis court. She's really taking over right now. Besides Serena, she's really taking over the game. Playing well. Had a great year. So I'm gonna go with Naomi Osaka. And for the male athlete of the year, great choices. But I'd agree with George. As much as I'm a LeBron James fan, and I'm not now since he's playing for the Lakers. Um, I like I said, if you would have played for the Knicks or somebody else, I'd have been still riding. But I still respect and love the man because of what he does on and off the court. And the
Yeah.
year he had this year was amazing, especially what he done helping with the play. I didn't like his big headedness a little bit with those issues, but still doing a lot for the community, doing a lot on and off the court and on the court this year. How he has really controlled the NBA more than anything else, especially what they did this year with the Lakers and for Kobe Bryant. So that's huge. LeBron James is my male athlete of the year. Female athlete of the year, Naomi Osaka. Um, let's go with the story and moment of the year. Let's start with you, Jared. Story or moment of the year.
All the sports and players taking a stand to promote racial equality. That's the story of the year.
Hmm. Wow. Cool. George?
Uh, how do you beat that? I mean, when you're talking about athletes using a platform, and let me address this as a white person, as a Caucasian. All right, because here's the counter argument to that story, and this is I'm gonna call out Caucasians right now with this. White people look at and I'm gonna tell you like it is, and this is not me speaking. This is me speaking, but this is not me thinking like that. This is me going into their heads. Okay, a white person sees a black person pull off a social platform and say, "Well, they need to worry about athletes. They need to worry about being an athlete. Don't worry about social issues. Don't worry about political issues." But when these issues talk about real life, you talk about a man who was brutalized. And look, I work in law enforcement. I love the police. I will defend the police till the cows come home. Okay, but the deal with George Floyd in Minnesota was disgusting. In every aspect, those three cops that watched the dude put the knee on the man's neck did nothing. I'm sorry, but if I was a civilian, I'd have took a charge. I would have taken a charge. I'd have beat the you know what out of one of them. I'd have snapped off and said, "Hey, bro, get off. You already got your compliance." Um, the Jacob Blake thing, look, I'm gonna be a little bit different on Jacob Blake because everybody talks about he's a pariah and everything. The man did try to break the law, but what he was doing, he was reaching into a vehicle, and as a cop, you have to think split second. You ain't thinking 1 minute, 2 minutes. So it's a split second decision. Do you know if the man's reaching for a weapon? You don't know that. Now, did they put too many? Yeah, 7 shots is too many. But the premise of what he did, see, social awareness, and BK, you talked about Naomi Osaka, and I'm glad you brought her up. I am, because that woman was bastardized by white people. She was bastardized by white people during her run at the United States Open at Flushing Meadow and winning that tournament. Remember, she came out every match. She came out with different social platforms, different platforms. Racism exists, people, and white people want to get into this cocoon of it's not as bad as you say. They overblow it. I don't want to say the BS. I don't want to use that because we're trying to keep it clean, but it's complete and utter. You know what, right? I think it's easy. We can agree on that. Look, I'm like this, man, and for those of you that want to call me, and I know there's white people that'll say this, and that I'm a suck up, and no, I'm a realist. It's called reality, people. We are living in a time where we shouldn't be having to deal with this nonsense, but we do. It happens on the athletic front. It's happening in every front. We've all experienced it in different variants. But that story of the year, I can't beat it because that's you know traditionally speaking, LSU winning the national title could have been up there in a normal year. LSU winning the football national title easily wins this award for me. But the fact, Jared, I applaud you, dude. That's the right choice. That social awareness, that prejudice, racism, the fact that it exists and now it's out there, and people, it's going to force conversations that need to be had. And
Hmm.
ideally, my dream is to have that conversation open ended, no holds barred, and no restrictions. That conversation needs to happen. If we're ever going to be a better nation, if we're ever going to be a nation that unites and not divides, this conversation has to happen. No bones about it.
Man, I definitely appreciate the both of y'all with that one. I mean, I would say that'd be the start of them. I'm gonna go a little bit out on a limb a little bit on this one. I'm going to, and to me, and George, I respect you a lot, and I appreciate that because, like I said before, it's going to be a whole lot of changes down the line, hopefully. And I was on Johnny's show weeks ago when we talked about racial equality, and I said it
Yep.
before. It's going to have to take a big change in administration all around to have some kind of social justice overall for us, for not just for black folks, but for everybody. That we need to just stop breaking laws, do all that kind of stuff. But that's something down the line that's going to be discussed and hopefully change. And I'm hoping for change soon. But we're gonna go outside. I'm gonna go outside the limb a little bit on the story of the year, the moment of the year. I think the COVID-19 thing that shut down sports is my moment and story of the year, particularly the NCAA tournament. The NCAA basketball tournament, to me, was probably the story moment of the year being shut down COVID because of the potential of being maybe one of the greatest tournaments ever. Because of the fact that you had potentially maybe no blue bloods potentially going in the Final Four if that happens. Kentucky might have had a shot, but you look at the stories of San Diego
Dayton.
State, Dayton, Gonzaga probably had having their best chance even this season to win the national championship, and a lot of these other small teams. This year could have been the year of we're really going to have a true national champion. We ain't got to worry about Duke. We ain't got to worry about North Carolina. We ain't got to worry about none of that. We got these teams. And I was so happy the job that the coach at Dayton did, and I felt his pain or the season that he had. And remember, he was in that same conference before when he coached at VCU.
Anthony
I think
Grant.
Anthony Wright, Andy
Anthony
Grant.
Grant.
The job he did at Dayton was amazing. And I really thought, yeah, his team is good enough to go to the Final Four. And also the coach at San Diego State. And I felt bad for him in his first year. And we're talking about the long-time assistant under Steve Fisher, the man who recruited the Fab Five, has a team that goes 28-3, ranked the top five in the country. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this man, Coach Brian, can do this. He was meant for this. He was prepared for this. And I felt so bad that the NCAA tournament could not be played. And when I couldn't believe when I seen the news that that the COVID hit the NBA, and then all of a sudden it hit the NCAA. No tournament, no none of that. I was like, wow, man, I can't even believe that. So it was amazing that they couldn't play the tournament. But the way things are looking this year in the NCAA, it might be a little similar. We'll see, because the team that replaced Dayton right now is, I believe that's Richmond. Richmond's that team this year. So we'll see. You might have a blue blood, somebody from a big conference, but you still might have a wide open setting for a national championship this year. I just hope everything goes normal, that we have this NCAA tournament. But I was just so disappointed that that didn't happen at all. I would say the Atlanta Braves with the choke, but that's the one that really tops it all, because I'm an Atlanta Braves fan myself, and that was major disappointment. That's for another time. But coach of the year, right quick, and actually, I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry. Game and event of the year. Let's start with you, George. Your game and event of the year.
Hmm. Game. You talking about individual game of the year? That's easy. Super
Individual
Bowl.
game or event, anything.
Okay. The Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Kansas City and San Francisco. The subplots and the back and forth in that game. The 49ers getting the double-digit lead, and what was said about the 49ers defense was very, very good. It was an elite defense in that game. And could Patrick Mahomes find a way back? The thrills in that game were incredible. No, it wasn't the greatest Super Bowl ever, but it was a doggone good one. So for game of the year, I would say the 49ers and the Chiefs Super Bowl. Coach of the year, see, that's a subjective award, and I'd love to hand it to Andy Reid, but I'm going to give it to John Cooper of the Tampa Bay Lightning, NHL. All right. That team last year got swept out after winning the President's Trophy by Columbus. This year, in a pandemic year, they had it in their resolve to win the Stanley Cup. It was either get there, win it, or nothing. And they didn't have the year they had during the regular season, but they positioned themselves well. And they wound up going through the playoffs and winning the Stanley Cup. Look, I don't know how well versed you guys are in hockey, but I grew up watching hockey. Grew up in New York, so I'll give it to John. It's a little bit out of the box, but what the reasoning for his award was his resiliency. It could have been all right, man. We couldn't win it without we got knocked off after finishing first in the President's Trophy. He could have just said the heck with it, but he told his team, no, that's not how we doing this. We get it right. Event of the year. Ah, that's interesting. Are we talking when you talk about event of the year? Are we talking about sporting event of the year or just
No,
an event
we were
event of the
we
year?
were just talking about, it was just basically just sport. It was just like basically just game or event. That's all. Yeah, but you good. You
Okay.
straight. I'm gonna go to Jared, but all I need was game or event.
Okay. Well, I gave you the
But you
game,
straight.
so event. I mean, there's a couple of things
Right.
I can think of, but Jared, take it, dog.
All right.
Go ahead, Jared.
Coach.
Get your game and event and coach of the year, wherever you want to start.
All right. I'm gonna start with coach of the year because game and event I have a tie. So coach of the year, I'm going Jamie Chadwell out of Coastal Carolina. The job he did this year was phenomenal. They were picked to finish last in the Sun Belt. They finished first in their division. Couldn't have a Sun Belt championship, but the teams he beat in Appalachian State, Louisiana Lafayette, Kansas, and even a ranked BYU, that's pretty damn good. So my coach of the year is Jamie Chadwell out of Coastal Carolina. Game/event of the year, I do have a tie. The first one, to me, I thought was the best game of 2020, even though it had a little controversy in it. That was the college football playoff game between Clemson and Ohio State. It had everything from momentum swings to ejections to bad calls to a game-winning interception, whatever you name it. I thought that was the best game I saw all of 2020. But also, in a tie with that, was the UFC bout between Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Weili Zhang. That women's fight is one of the best UFC fights of all time. If you didn't see that
Wow.
fight, look that fight up on YouTube. Those 5 rounds was some of the best ever. And to this day, I don't know how Joanna was still able to go those 5 rounds with her head swollen like Alien from the Alien movies. I'm telling you, that was one of the best fights ever. So that's my coach of the year and my game/event of the year.
Hmm. Well, coach of the year, very interesting choices this year. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Brian Butcher is definitely, I would say, one of them. From San Diego State, Anthony Grant from Dayton. I want to give a huge shout out to Travis Macon, the head coach at Kahoma Community College. They went 3-2 this year, the most wins at Kahoma since 2005, since they went to the playoffs. So big ups to them. They could have had a chance at 4 wins. COVID kind of swing some things and everything. But big shout out to Travis Macon. He's got a program that's really on the up and up, man. So big ups to him. My coach of the year, my choice. Man, it's a tough choice. I gotta go with Eric Spoelstra. I gotta give Eric Spoelstra some love. He has done a great job at Miami over the years. This year he had a team pretty young but very talented, and he has coached them up so well. And especially the way he has taken the Heat to the finals this year with Jimmy Butler. And then he's got Jimmy Butler together, and now he's got his team and everything. I really think all the hard work starting to pay off for Spoelstra. And people got to understand he is a championship coach, and he is proving it. He hasn't won 2 championships for nothing. This guy can coach, and he's showing it. So my coach of the year is Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat. And my event and game of the year, it was an interesting choice of who, of what, and what game it was and everything. It was a, but I gotta agree with yours. Super Bowl was awesome. It was a very good Super Bowl. I mean, the Niners and Chiefs went at it. It was a tale of two halves. And, I really enjoyed what happened, especially the culmination of Patrick Mahomes and finally, you know, the head coach gets his Super Bowl. Andy Reid finally gets his title, what he's been longing for a long time. So I really enjoyed that game, and really, to me, out of all the games, that's like the game slash event of the year to me. You know what I'm saying? I would say LSU national championship, but it was so like one sided. At first Clemson came to fight, and I gave them a lot of credit. They came to fight as the champion, but LSU was that team, and they haven't been the same since. You know, but man, we definitely have run out of time. We definitely appreciate everybody joining us on the VK Jones 2020 year in review. Jared, you got something for album of the year, right quick? So it's just me and you on this one.
Album of the year, I really don't. Not really. I really don't. Not this year.
Not this year. That's this year. Well, I got Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels 4. That was really unbelievable. I mean, especially for the time of when that music came out and when it was about. Those two are the best tandem in music, man. Those guys are unbelievable. Big Mike and ELP. Them guys, they hit it. They hit it. So that's my album of the year. I don't know if you got anything from movie of the year or show of the year, anything. I know it's been kind of crazy this year.
Show of the year. I mean, the only thing I could say, maybe NXT, movie of the year, I haven't been to a movie theater to watch any movies due to COVID. So I can't even give a fair
Right.
opinion on it of what I could think.
Well, for movie of the year, I would say Bad Boys 2. I would say Bad Boys for Life. That's
Uh-huh.
my choice. Movie of the year, show of the year, and some people are really sleeping on the show. Chicago PD.
My mom
Chicago
watched that.
PD.
My
Oh
mom
my
watched all the
God,
Chicago shows.
Chicago PD. My wife watch it too, and they all good. Chicago PD is their show. Watch it, bro. All I'm tell you, Hank Voight is that dude. Hank Voight
Uh,
is that dude.
yeah, I'm coming
Especially
to
this
you.
season. So
I'll come to your
yeah.
house and I'll get you.
I do, bro. Do you look at the early seasons, man? I was like, shit, dog. This dude, that boy is that dude. And you talking about dirty cop? He can't stand dirty. He's dirty himself, but he tries to clean up the corruptness. But he's the
Mm-hmm.
type of cop that wants to get the job done and try to save the city.
Yeah.
And he do it in an unorthodox way. I don't know if you watch the show, George, but I know you'd be like, man, this dude here, man, he could get
No,
canned anywhere in the country.
I mean,
You watch it
I've
up?
seen some. Look, God rest her soul, but my wife loved Chicago PD. You know, my late wife, she loved that show, and I got into it a little bit. I mean, I have other shows that I like. I mean, Law and Order SVU is one I binge watch only because I just man crush hard on Olivia Benson,
Hmm.
Mariska Hargitay. I mean, it's illegal to look that fine in her 50s. I mean, she's just drop
I
dead
know.
gorgeous. But the show I go to is the haves and the have-nots. I know it's their last
Ooh,
season this
wow.
year. Tyler Perry's announced that this is it. He's leaving the OWN network and he's going to BET. He's already got some shows in the can to put on BET. But this is it for the haves and the have-nots. And it's my second favorite show of all time. My favorite show of all time, BK. You're going to agree with me on this one. Going back to their 24. It's the greatest show ever, I think. And it was a show built in real time and it was outstanding. And I'll go even further back, Hill Street Blues from my grow up days in the 80s. That was one of the first cop shows I fell for, and it was awesome. I won a bunch of Emmy Awards. Movie of the year. How the heck can you pick a movie when we couldn't even go to a movie? I mean, that's impossible.
Right.
Right.
Now, you know, but just that. I mean, and album. Yeah, I hear album of the year. I was thinking of a joke, but I said I better. I don't want to upset the apple cart, so I'll leave it alone. But
Yeah.
look, this has been fun. This has been amazing. On short notice for me to come on with y'all. It's always fun, Jared. I mean, this is the second time we've done this together, bro. And you cool as all get out. But you already know where our relationship stands, where we stand. Me and you,
Right.
a lot of history. So,
Yes, sir.
and I'm just the kind of person that I'm gonna keep it real. The platform's there, and just to be a part of this platform, I'm a very grateful and appreciative person. But I want to say something a little bit personal. We just went through one of the more traumatic years, and a lot of people are going to say, "Well, COVID-19 and everything else." For me, it's much. It was way more personal than COVID-19, and y'all know I lost my wife
Mm-hmm.
last June 13th. So for me, anything else that's happened is secondary. That is, a loss I don't wish on nobody. That is a pain I don't wish on nobody. It's even on your worst enemy, because what is the Bible saying? You don't hate, don't, love thy brother, love thy neighbor. That's what we should, and in 2021, what we need to do as a people, resolve to love each other more, resolve to be there for each other, resolve to better yourselves. All three of us, I'm talking about all three of us right now. We have to be a better person than the day before. Yesterday was New Year's Day. Today is the second. Be better today than you were yesterday. Tomorrow, when you wake up, first of all, you thank God for the day and thank Him for the blessings that you have in your life. And then you find a way to make yourself better on that day. That if we can do that as a people, then this country will be in a much better state. It will be much better. We have to love. We can't hate. Hatred is not acceptable. Nowhere in the Bible does it say hate where hatred is acceptable to anybody, whether it be race, whether it be creed, whether it be sexual, uh, somebody's sexual choices. You know, we have to learn to as a nation. If we can
That's
do
right.
that, and I sound like a politician, but I'm not. Do that, we're going to be a better nation. We just need to be a better people, and it's all love from this end.
Man, I pray for
That,
normalcy this year more than anything else. And George, we appreciate you coming on, man. I can't believe you went back to the days with Hill Street Blues, man. This young man on my left, man, he's young. He don't remember Hill Street. He might have been born around Hill Street Blues, so he don't know about that.
I
Go
don't
But
know
to
at
the
the
about Hill
same
Street
go to
time,
the
Blues. You're
archive,
right.
man. Watch it. It's
now
awesome.
his mom and dad know about Hill Street Blues, but at
Of
the same
course.
time, regardless of the fact that yeah, we all went through a lot of things this year. You went through a lot. Jared has went through a lot with him and his family. I went through a lot with me and my family. I'm like taking care of my wife and kid. You know, my wife is not 100%, and I'm still kind of like jobless. So it's been a mountain climb, but I just feel things about to get better ahead of time and everything else. Well, we appreciate
Trust in the
you.
Lord's plan, man. That's all you can do. Trust in the
All day.
Lord's plan.
That's
That's
right.
all you can do.
That's all day, man. I appreciate it. Amen to that. George, thank you so much. Jared,
Thank
JB
you.
boy, thank you so much.
No problem.
Appreciate it. When do you have Thursday open, my friend?
Do I have Thursday open?
Thursday open or what day? Because I wanna definitely get in this whole spectacular that we have coming up.
Ooh, Thursday.
Thursday might be tight for you, huh?
I was trying to do the hash out show on Thursday.
Hash out, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I was trying to do the
That's
hash
fine.
out
That's
show on
fine.
Thursday. So
Okay.
um
Okay. Just let me
definitely
know a day that's good,
definitely
and
Saturday.
we can definitely do next Saturday.
All
Yeah,
right.
next Saturday we'll do VK Jones. We'll do a final edition of VK Jones Special Edition before we put that show to bed because we have a brand new show that's going to be coming up around February, and it will be called Live from the Underground. We will break that down next week more than anything else. It'll be sports, entertainment, and life more than anything. So we're gonna make it not just New Orleans based. We're gonna try to make it more national as possible, but we're also gonna give the people that's unknown a chance to get on here and to talk and to give our little viewpoints and all that good stuff. So
Right.
we'll make an announcement more next week on that new podcast. But for George Peppers, Jared JB Boyd, I'm VK Jones. We thank you for joining us on the Year in Review 2020. Happy New Year. Enjoy 2021. One day at a time, baby. 6 feet from each other. Wash your hands. All that good stuff. Don't drink and drive. See you next week.
See you, fellas.
All right.